Boom.
And we should, in fact, now be live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Assuming we are, yeah, it tells me we're live. I'm sure it is. It'll tell us the rest of it that it's live later. We're back. It's another week. Hello, chat. Nice to see y'all. We have, as usual, our lovely panel with us this evening. To discuss some very amazingly artistic, brilliant, top-of-the-line movies that really make you pleased to live in this current era of filmmaking. It's on track for 1 billion. It's doing better than Super Mario. It's another video game adaptation set out to prove the people who spent years saying video games are art, and they say, nah, no, it isn't. It's the Minecraft movie, and it's doing so well. And can't you just tell how much we love it?
Piece of shit. Oh my God.
Greg, I did see your community post, and it looked like you didn't mind it.
So, you know what's really interesting is...
Oh, Greg. Oh, don't do this to us.
No. So this is really, really weird. We went and saw it Saturday night, and we left the theater, and everybody was in pretty high spirits. We were like, wow, that was, not as absolute trash as we thought. There were some funny moments. Everybody was, we had a good night out. We had some popcorn, enjoyed our time as a family. It was like 8 o'clock when we got home. I didn't want to script, and then I was busy Sunday and then today, so I didn't get a chance to make a video yet. And I just interviewed all my kids an hour ago to get their scores. And 2 days later, 48 hours later, I've got 7, 5, 6, 6. 9-year-old gave it a 9, and then I asked my 5-year-old. I was like, "Hey, did you like that Minecraft movie?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "What did you like?" Because I was just asking kids, what'd you like? What'd you dislike? I'm like, "What'd you like about it?" And she goes, the part where they were safe." She could not remember a part that she thought was actually
always a good sign.
And 48 hours later, everybody's like, "Yeah, it's all right." And I'm thinking, wow, Saturday night we were like, wow, that was pretty good. And now here it is Monday, and everybody's already kind of forgetting plot lines. They can't remember what happened. It's that
truly
forgettable.
The McDonald's of movies. Then
yes,
it's better than Snow White. That's the only thing I can meet you halfway.
I said that in my review.
It's just as I'm watching it, I'm like, you know what? This movie has made me smirk once or twice. That's 10 times more than Snow White ever did. So
I don't know, to be honest. Yeah. I'm not convinced that it is better than Snow White. In fact, the Snow White has arguably done more good for cinema than the Minecraft movie has, because at least lessons will be learned from Snow White. Because they'll look at all of the empty seats and conclude, this is shit and we can't do it again. Whereas with Minecraft, the opposite is the case. They'll look at all the people in the seats cheering and pointing and clapping before they forget everything they've just seen. And they'll say, yes, this is the answer. All we need to do is just to vampirize a popular game IP and make it as dull and unforgettable and pointless and tedious as possible, because all we need is to get people clapping in the moment, and that's it.
If we're talking about the meta, then I completely agree, because this is just going to do so much damage. And I've never seen an adaptation where I felt like I've desperately need to know the game or the book or wherever this came from, because I have no idea what the fuck is going on. But if we're just talking about strictly my take in terms of entertainment, I wasn't bored to tears and wanting to just die like I was with Snow White. There was a couple moments where I at least smirked, and just the spectacle of it all kept my attention of how stupid. I can't believe you guys signed up for this. I felt embarrassed for the actors. I felt embarrassed for the Minecraft fans, the people who love Minecraft and have played it for years and now have to have it associated with this movie. I actually feel bad for them. So that's kind of where I'm at.
So my sons were also mad at the lore breaking aspects of it. They like the jokes, because the jokes are, if you have ever met a 10-year-old boy and you think what would he laugh at? That's what this movie is written like. And my wife was actually saying that Jason Momoa's character basically embodies our 9-year-old son, the boasting, the floppiness, the way he moves his body, the general attitude, the jokes he tells, the way he writes. He's like a 9-10-year-old boy, and they loved it and they thought it was hilarious. But then also we're leaving, and I'm doing the post movie quiz, and they're like, well, there's no Swift boots in Minecraft, so that was ridiculous. That you can't just combine buckets to make a nunchuck. That's not, you don't Minecraft's rules, and they're just breaking the rule. They were mad about the fact that it did not follow the rules of Minecraft, which I thought was fucking hilarious.
You should be proud of those kids. You should be proud of them.
Okay, I've played a little bit too much Minecraft for a woman in her 30s. Okay. Also, hot take: I didn't completely hate this movie. I laughed quite a few times. I think that's for entertainment value. That's worth something. But it mixes between Minecraft Legends, Minecraft Dungeons, and then the Minecraft open world. So all of the because like I was curious about some of these lore breaks, like the piglins shouldn't be surviving in the overworld because that just turns them into zombies. But in Legends, like there is a workaround where they eat like nether wart, and that's how they're able to like not decompose in the sunlight sort of deal. The swift boots are also from Legends as well. So I think it just mixes too much of the lore, even though most people are familiar with like the standard bedrock Minecraft. But as a movie, this is pretty disappointing. Like they should have just either copied lines from or like plot lines from the Legends game or even the Minecraft show that's been running for like 10 years at this point, or just basically made this Jumanji but in Minecraft.
I thought this is the kind of movie that will make you hate movies. I thought it was a worthless pile of shit. There's nothing redeemable about this fucking movie at all. And the story is absolutely beside the point. There is no story, really. There is no message. All it really is a giant tutorial for newbies on how to play Minecraft. And it's there for the Easter eggs for the people who do play Minecraft. I've seen kids create things 10,000 times more creative than anything that was actually in this movie in the fucking video game Minecraft. So the fact that this is sold as something as creative and endless imagination, like it's fucking Willy Wonka, is ridiculous because what this guy creates, you're seeing it in the photo. They make shit like swords and boots and fucking and buckets and houses, but it reminded me of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness when it's supposed to be the Multiverse of Madness. But the craziest thing is you go on red and stop at green. And he's like, and then I made a house made of wool. Isn't that fucking creative and
like
crazy?
no ideas whatsoever. They have these incredible concepts to work with and they do nothing with it. And it's a pattern. It's not even just like a Marvel or a Disney thing anymore. You see it just throughout Hollywood. Like this movie, for all the fan support that it had and all the ideas that like, people would have done for free, because I know people are passionate about it. Yeah. And you come up with this, like it lacked character in a way that was just shocking. Because I can clue into what I can point out one scene. Momoa, when he had his breakdown of like saying I'm a loser, I'm like, it was the only moment where I'm like, I'm actually paying attention because we're finally doing something with the character. I'm like, why aren't they developing this throughout the entire movie about him, his backstory, and like how much that affects his ego and the way he lashes out?
They're cardboard cutout characters.
Such a waste. Give this movie character and it could have been good.
Yeah, just like on that point, I was thinking the same thing because when they introduce Henry and his sister, it's like, oh, their mom just suddenly passed away. His sister now has been kind of like thrust into this role of being a parent. He's also like, he's a nerd, he's a loser, he's in an unfamiliar place. So there's like and then he's kind of forced to not be as creative as he would like to be. So there's all these little things that are thematically teased that don't go anywhere. Henry's basically forgotten as a character. And past the 30-minute mark, it kind of becomes this weird self-insert for like people with a midlife crisis like Jack Black and Jason Momoa's characters.
Yeah.
Which it shouldn't have been whatsoever, because a kid can't really empathize with that or understand that.
And then
I don't think they're supposed to, right? So I was like doing the intro to a couple like the short scripts for like the short second channel video and the main one, and it's like trying to, because it started off pretty bleak, right? I sat there, I think the first sentence in the review is something like, the Minecraft movie proves that natural selection is a lie, because if you sit in the theater surrounded by people enjoying Minecraft, you realize most people are still fucking chimps. And then I thought, no, that's a bit too harsh. We've got to find some way of being optimistic about this, because I'm sure there are other reasons to ironically like the movie. Maybe what all of this is designed to do, really, and all it's designed to do, is to chuck as many references as possible onto the screen in order that the audience can sit there and they'll recognize the thing. And what they will do is they will remember seeing it in a game they played with a story they preferred in a world that they themselves have made. Like, all they're doing is being reminded of the better time they had with their own imagination. And the Minecraft movie just exists to basically be a parasite. It's just trying to like clue as many of these memories as possible and make bank off of something it itself never has made. I think that's probably a large part of it. And that's the reason there aren't really any characters, because if you have characters with storylines, you're kind of being a bit too exclusive. Most of the audience will then start to try and, actually engage with this as a work of art separate to an experience they themselves have had. And they didn't want that to happen. I think that's terrible for a movie to basically say, we can't create anything worthwhile and we're not even going to try because we can just make buck off somebody else's work. Yeah. But it's evidently been incredibly successful. But that goes some way toward explaining why none of these characters are characters, why no one actually has like an arc worth the name even. It's just like they occasionally throw in lines that make you think that the thing has a theme, all of this stuff about creativity being punished in the real world. None of that's ever shown because A, they never actually create anything in the Minecraft world, and B, the main kid, or what you think is going to be the main kid, is never stopped from creating anything. The first thing he does is build a fucking jetpack, which works.
He's even better in the real world at building shit.
Yeah. And the conclusion for the movie, no word of a lie, is stop playing Minecraft, you coward, because game creativity sucks. Why don't you do it in the real world? Make your dreams come true. You had that dream about creating a mobile zoo. It didn't work the first time you did it, but because the theme demands it, it's really successful now. So just do that in the real world and you can ignore Minecraft completely. Don't play Minecraft, kids, is the message of the Minecraft movie.
See, I took the message away as... the message was, it's totally fine if you just play video games your entire life and don't amount to shit and just become an overweight fucking loser because it'll just work out in the end because it needs to. So pretty much. Go ahead, kids.
You guys are being way too harsh on this. Okay. And you're giving it too much credit. Okay, let's be honest. God. This was basically just autism in 90 minutes. That's all this was. Like, anyone who would really like sit down and enjoy this past all the little like, oh, they have this in Minecraft kind of deal, has legitimate autism, because these are just kind of like little reels and little ideas that are stitched together to just get you to emote and like spurg at certain things. That's about it. I don't think there was meant to really be much more than that. I feel like you're giving it too much credit, Platoon, even in your assessment.
Well, the way Platoon described it, I was trying to mention there, you basically described Disney Star Wars as well, where they're not even going to bother developing these characters. They're just riding on the fan base and the support that people have because they know they're going to fill in the gaps themselves. And that's what they've done for Ahsoka, Anakin, all the fucking bullshit.
I don't know. That might even be unfair on Disney Star Wars. I never thought I'd say this, but Rey has more character than anybody in this movie does. And that's really fucking astounding because she has no character. But like, she's more than these people in. The kid in this movie is probably more of a Mary Sue than she is, even. The
beginning of TFA, which is the best part of Rey's story, where you get to see just her doing her day to day without really getting any dialogue, is actually fantastic before her story falls apart. That is a million times better than what they did with this stupid little kid. He was so worthless. His performance was shit. I don't. You guys should know about me by now. I don't do he's a kid, leave him alone. No, that kid can't act.
You should know this about me. I fucking hate children.
Hate
children can go to the mines. Get rid of them.
I want this to be known about me. Like, there's no excuse. Like, you have to, if you don't have the talent, then you need to improve. You need to work harder, because I've seen kids with talent. I'm not a fan of
uniquely awful. It's like every time the camera cut, he has one facial expression, that sort of bemused look, which is kind of, again, I think a surrogate for anyone in the audience trying to make sense of this movie, wears roughly the same expression. And then he spends the rest of his time struggling to navigate his way past his own tongue. So I don't really understand why they cast him. He can't really speak, he can't really act, but there might just be the fact, as is usually a qualifier in movies like this, he has nothing to work with. What is he supposed to do? He has no character.
He's got to be someone's nephew, because it's even best than that. I feel like you could have grabbed a random kid off the street, like that's played Minecraft before, give him a little instruction, and he might have been able to emote better than him. That kid had to be like, it had to be nepotism of some kind. Like, there's no other reason to be stuck with that twat. Like, he just didn't do anything. And it's like you said, it's not his fault entirely. They didn't do anything with the character, but I don't think that kid with a better script would have done much better, to be honest.
Agreed.
Yeah, and Jason Momoa, it made me realize, like, I do like this guy as an actor. He's fun, and it's fun to see actors having fun with the role, but that can only last so long. You need to do something with it. And that scene where he was talking about his backstory, I really wish they fleshed out the characters. Just proper characterization could have made this passable and like made the jokes a little bit more worthwhile. Instead of so superficial. There's no way you could rewatch this, even as a kid.
Did you guys watch that? There's one director interview that he does where he's just like, oh, basically all of the main characters that you see are like different types of Minecraft players, which is essentially that's just supposed to solve why they have the specific development they do have.
Like autistic
So
development?
who's the fat black girl? Who she represents?
So
She's the
supposed
least
to be-
annoying character in the whole movie. Is what she
She's
is.
not a
'cause she has
character.
She's
not a
in the least
character.
of all of
There.
them. She's barely
Hardly
in the
there.
film.
I don't know her
She's really
name.
annoying.
There's nothing to say about her.
Dawn. Her name is Dawn.
Yeah,
I
Dawn.
had to look at
Real
IMDb
estate
for that
agent.
one.
Oh,
And
She's like the
you're
farmer
onto like
type.
a loser with a character like that when they introduce her. She's the realtor who sells or she rents the house to the kids, and also she has a mobile zoo because they think that the llama in the car is funny. And like, if you introduce a character as having two massively like disconnected premises to them, and all they really do is just they're there because they need to have her like as an excuse to be in the plot, and there's actually nothing connecting any of this. She's just there. That those things are done as an excuse to have somebody in there, and it's not. I understand why the director might want to say all these people represent different kinds of Minecraft player. I think that's a very clever way of saying what like he was trying to say, which is that what we did was just basic 4-quadrant casting, and we've just selected people who look like the audience that we want to have. We have to have a happy black woman in there because we need to somehow trick black people into thinking that they'll like the Minecraft movie. So this will do. Same thing with Jason Momoa and old people. It's just like this is so soulless and corporatized. This is what most movies do, but less transparently than Minecraft did.
Did you like the fact that Jason Momoa was a gamer and his game skills had absolutely no effect on the story?
Yeah, I thought I kept
Yeah.
waiting for them to do something with that. Instead, he keeps like kung fu punching like pigs and shit. Like it's just what a waste, man. It was
Sounds so
embarrassing.
stupid when
Shouted
you
What is he
fucking
doing?
shouted his catchphrase.
Yeah, I'm just
before
like,
the
what is
bridge blew up.
happening?
That was the only connection to his gamer past.
And I don't know a single thing about Minecraft except you build stuff. Like I literally have no idea. So to me, I was just baffled by every single scene.
Yeah, this
And
doesn't translate to a
that's
normie
not at all-
audience
yeah, that's what I was
whatsoever.
saying. I've never seen an adaptation of anything where I'm like, I don't like. You can watch almost anything and get an understanding of the story. I feel like I know less about Minecraft after seeing
But
this.
what was terrible was Jason Momoa is a roided up guy who's like a foot taller than Jack Black, and yet he can't fight anyone. And yet this fat bastard who's morbidly obese is drop kicking people all
And the
across
skinny
the fucking
girl.
movie.
That
Skinny
was
little girl's
less
a fine
objectionable to me than the girl. So the
Yeah.
other character, for anyone, like very few people I imagine have not seen Minecraft at this point, but in case anyone in the chat hasn't seen the Minecraft movie, the two younger characters, you have the young male kid who's there to try and get young boys to watch the film, and then his older sister who's still quite young, and she's there to try and trick women into thinking that they'll like the Minecraft movie. It's just classic 4-quadrant casting. Her role in the script is to kind of do nothing at all. She delivers a line of dialogue to explain why they're there at the beginning, which is, oh, our mum's dying wish was for us to move into this random fucking town. And that's it. That's all you really
Go to a
get.
shithole.
And then
Go to
about
the
midway
poorest
through
place
the
in
movie,
America.
yeah, about midway through the movie, there's a fight with some pigs, and she just starts beating the shit out of them. And Dawn, the happy black lady, says, "Where did that come from?" And she says, "I don't know." And that's it. So at the end of the movie,
No,
she opens a
that's that.
self-defense class as the resolution of her dreams, which have never been present in the
Out
movie
of
at any
nowhere.
point.
She's better
was
than
men.
Steve.
There was grown men attending a fucking teenage girl's self-defense class. And this is America. You've got guns.
Yeah, it was just stupid, man.
I'm still trying to figure,
What
like,
say
wrap
you,
my
Mac?
head around the fact that Jack Black even got this role. Like, this is a
Why?
cube world,
built
and
for
they
him.
also put in the roundest person possible. Like, even when they put him in the armor, in the square armor, his round
Holy
belly is still pushing out
Bro.
the armor. He just didn't work with the physics of the rest of the world, and it kept making me laugh periodically.
I don't think it's possible to make that look good. There's some things you just can't adapt, man. And
Yeah.
like it's just and for me, like I said, I don't know anything about it. I assumed it's something from the game, but I was just like, of all the interpretations you could have went for, you literally just stapled it up. It looked ridiculous. He looked completely ridiculous. Everyone should be ashamed of themselves for like who didn't take a better approach, you know? Because for example, Captain America, seeing the OG Cap in Avengers and then watching it a little bit more modernized in Winter Soldier, and then seeing like the vigilante version in Infinity War. It was cool to see like their interpretation of it. And then you have things like this where it's just they just gave up and phoned it in. I don't know. Terrible idea all around.
There's like Minecraft books as well that are out there that you could have just also adapted if you didn't want to go through like the Legends or Dungeons route, which is I'm really baffled at why the script turned out the way it did when there's so much to work with. But then I think, oh, Halo also happened and it was the same thing there. So
what's crazy is Jack Black narrates those. My son listens to those on Audible.
Really?
And he narrates that shit and he loves it. So you're right. They put down one of those stories, and I've heard that like passing through by his room, and the emotion in his audio narration was 100 times. Like this movie was so. He looked exhausted and just like he did not give the slightest shit. Like, did his mom die right before filming this movie? Like something. It's because it looks bad.
I hope so.
It looks.
He looks
really,
awful because he's like obese.
Just, yeah.
So
like he doesn't
that's a
care.
huge problem.
I don't know if you guys noticed this as well, because I went to India to watch mine. So but I noticed that like they built sets for like the most random scenes, like scenes where like the aesthetic or environment don't really have an impact on it. And then they went full green screen for other things. And the green screen actually wasn't bad. It just kind of looked like a scene out of Minecraft Legends. So I was totally fine with that.
Did you watch the unfinished version?
I did, yes.
Yeah, that's
yes.
I also did that, but I didn't realize that's what it was like initially. So because I had to go on open bar that day, and it's like, well, I've got to try and find a version of this film to at least see some of it before open bar. So I stuck that on, and then like I just thought, oh my god, this movie looks fucking terrible. And so went on and said, yeah, like, why is he clipping through the scenery? And it turns out that was because I was watching the version they hadn't actually finished. But then the version that they did finish doesn't look a huge amount better than the version they hadn't finished. It's just a bit less clipping, but the green screen is still really obvious. And if anything, they cut a bunch of stuff from the working cut, which made a little bit more sense of the story. They just thought, like, there's a bunch of lines in there which either are supposed to invoke an emotion, and they obviously got scared and thought, we don't want that, so they cut a line. And there's something that makes like it's a little bit too abstract, or like a little bit too much storytelling is going on in the working cut. So they thought, no, we can't risk storytelling in this narrative art form. We have to cut that too. It's like random things like toward the beginning of the working cut, when like he says, you know, he as a kid he went to the mines and then he wasn't allowed in, so he goes to get this job. In the working cut, he presents in the form of a song in the first 2 minutes this pitch for a Steve's Resort World to some, I think the implication is that they're supposed to be investors, and this doesn't work. And so he says, so this is the kind of job he goes back to that makes you stare into your potatoes. And that's when he kind of, you know, rediscovers the dream of the mines. In the theatrical version, they cut that, but they do keep the payoff to it, which comes later, which is when you see him having built Steve's world. So what used to be set up and payoff, showing that the Minecraft world is the place where you can make all your dreams come true, just becomes a disconnected skit, unrelated to anything in the rest of the movie, because these people hate and fear art. So fuck them. I hate them.
But that whole beginning bit was so stupid. Like he goes, when I grow up, I want to be a child laborer in a fucking dirty mine. and then he goes, oh no, I have to, now that I'm an adult, I have to work in an air-conditioned office. I want to go back to that filthy mine. And he runs in and finds...
There's an idea there that... No, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I was just saying, and then he finds the cube. How did that get there? No fucking clue. Just finds that instantly.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
there's an idea there, but they didn't flesh it out at all, man. Yeah. It was so lame.
Well, there's no time to, because they chucked it into the prologue. And it's like the movie goes out of its way. The point of the prologue is to tell you not to think about the film.
Yeah,
because
one of those
you will not be rewarded for doing it. So when he says... he goes back after, you know, like 40 years of working this dead-end job, and he's like, and suddenly I remembered I had a dream, so I go back to the mine. And then I found this thingy, and then this thingy as well. And when I put the thingy in the thingy, you guessed it, it opened a portal to a new dimension. It's like, if I start asking questions, I'm fucked. There's no way to get through this.
There's a way to do exposition dumps, but this might be like level 1, man. Like Lord of the Rings at the beginning, the explanation you get and all the information they just deliver to us in this beautiful fucking manner, explaining like the history of over like 2,000 years or whatever it is. It's fantastic. That is how it's done at a top level, where you're not like overwhelmed and you can actually absorb the information. This is like a disgrace, man.
Yeah,
I just like you give up on the movie in the first 30 seconds. It's
Well,
just terrible.
when the pig, whatever her name is, lets him go, the second he leaves, what's it called, the Nether? The second he leaves there, he could just turn around and destroy the portal, and there you go, no more movie.
Yep.
He could have just done that.
The opening of the movie just
Fucking
shows
idiot.
that you're not supposed to. Things are just going to happen in this movie, and you are not to question why or how.
Yeah,
It's just and then storytelling, but it does it with a wink and a nod. So it does the classic, like, hey, if we use the meta to point out how fucking stupid this is, we're actually really clever, you guys. And that's the script.
But they're not. They're fucking idiots.
Exactly. It's fucking awful. Like, just because it's fucking stupid and you point it out doesn't mean it's somehow now clever. It's still fucking stupid.
Like, I meant to shit my pants. That's what it is.
They can't do relationships either. Like there could have been something between the kid and Momoa, and they tried to act like he was this big role model when they knew each other for like 2 seconds and had like 2 scenes together. And when he died, or like quote unquote died, they literally go from a moment that could have been or should have been sad if anyone liked this character, or they put any development into him, and then they cut immediately back into the comedy tone. They don't give you a second to feel anything whatsoever, because they know they haven't, like, there's nothing there. It's like they really know that these are empty characters and they just want you to not pay attention whatsoever. It's one of the most bizarre experiences I've had for a while.
I don't think my 10-year-old self would like this movie.
Yeah, yes.
No.
I was watching it thinking, how young would I have to be to like this movie? And I would be like, I'd have to still be in the womb or something. Like this would never fucking work.
Like when I was 10, I was watching movies I probably shouldn't. I was watching like The Godfather when I was 10. But for kids' movies, I was also watching, Toy Story and like Rescuers Down Under and all that shit.
Good movie.
We're light years ahead of this.
But there is the other side of things as well, which I think sort of Greg was talking about toward the beginning. It's not necessarily, would your 10-year-old self like it in the moment? Because I can completely believe that in the moment, yeah. But the telling difference is, is this the kind of movie your 10-year-old self would remember more than a week after they've seen it? Or would they just remember having seen it? Whereas like something like Toy Story kind of sticks with you forever, which is the reason it comes up in these counterexamples all the time, because we remember watching it as a kid, but it was good enough that we remembered the story and the characters, and we've rewatched it since, and we still get new things out of it. I don't see that happening with the Minecraft film, even for kids who sat in the theater and understandably enjoyed like bits that they recognize from the game.
Agreed.
So my 13-year-old noticed that, and one of his answers to me was, he was like, it wasn't great, but I had there were like some jokes. It was fun. And he literally said, it's not like Hercules. He watches Hercules a lot. Like he fucking loves that movie because he's a giant and he doesn't understand how his own body works because it's grown too fast. But he relates to Hercules. And he name dropped that one specifically. Like, I'm not going to watch this again. Like I watch Hercules. I like that movie. This was like fun and I'm not going to watch it again. Like he even understood that 48 hours later, like, yeah, it was cool, but I'm not going to watch it again.
Can I make a bit of a hot take, I guess, maybe? Like, I'm not trying to defend the film by any means, because objectively it is like terrible on every single metric that matters. But while I was watching it, and why I got some entertainment value out of it, is because it very much did mimic a lot of those like 2-hour Minecraft meme compilations or like highlight reels that I'd watch of gameplay. Like, it's just, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and you get like this just nice little adrenaline rush of like happiness, and you get a laugh out of it, and then you just move on to the next clip.
So
like
it really is made for the TikTok brain.
It is.
It really is. Yeah. Like, so that's why like I was able to get like a little bit of entertainment out of it, because I'm just like, oh, I kind of get what they're trying to do here, but it's not a good formula to work with, especially when the title clearly seems to allude to, oh, there might be another one. That's why it's a Minecraft movie, not the Minecraft movie.
Well, the part of the problem is like the audience is pretty vast for this, and so it's really there was more potential. Like you could have just cut out, maybe kept Momo, but you could have cut out the sister and the realtor and just the kid, and he feels like an outsider, and then he discovers this world, and he's creative, and his creative talents, he can really whatever, and you could run with that thing. And including more characters was dumb. But the problem is Minecraft came out in 2011. So you have
2009, even older.
It was I just looked it up. Yeah, 2009 I think was the alpha, and then 1.0 was it. But anyway, it's a 15, 16-year-old game. So you have, I mean, full-grown adults that have been playing this stuff since they were teenagers. So you've got a really wide audience. I didn't go to the theater to see the Mighty Pups movie, the Paw Patrol Mighty Pups movie, but we did rent that one. And like, I would never review that and tear it apart because it was a dumbass movie made for 6-year-olds, and my 5-year-old fucking loved it. Okay. The problem with Minecraft is your audience is much larger. So people are like, oh, it's a kids movie. Well, it's not supposed to be a kids movie. And I think that's the biggest complaint, is that this should not have been a movie for 9-year-olds. This should have been a family movie, because there are a lot of adults in their late 20s, early 30s that are like, oh, I played that shit in 2010 and I spent hours and hours in that world when I was a kid, and now I have kids and I can share it with them. And it should have been a family movie, and it was a dumbass movie for single-digit children that they won't even remember it a week later. And that's the real missed opportunity. And it's really fucking sad with this property. You could have done a lot of stuff with
Greg, you mentioned Hercules, Greg. Hercules had Hades, and he fucking just carried that fucking movie.
James Woods.
He was so funny. And it's one of the most satisfying things. One of the most satisfying things when you're a kid and you're watching a movie with your parents is when they can laugh at your fucking bullshit. And I remember my mom laughing at Hades, and it makes it so much more enjoyable for you to be able to sit through it when you know they're not cringing through the entire thing, right?
Yeah.
And you don't do that. You don't get that balance anymore. They just it's all shit, and they just say it's for kids, as if kids don't want good content. And I say this all the time. There's nothing I hated more as a kid than kids movies, because most of them were just watered down content. And the ones that weren't are the ones that we remember, like Toy Story, like Lion King, like the classic ones, right?
These kids sure loved it. Police had to kick several kids out of the theater during a showing of Minecraft. They were screaming and throwing popcorn during the chicken jockey scene.
I was screaming during that scene too. It was fucking terrible.
How'd you kick a bunch of kids out of the theater? Do you grab them by the collar and throw them out?
Yes, with extreme prejudice. They need to learn.
This is a TikTok trend, by the way. Like it's like, how loud can you be in a Minecraft showing?
I wondered whether that was the case, because I'd seen so many videos of people like clapping and cheering, and like it didn't seem quite like organic. It did seem like it was quite, if not ironic, then at least deliberate. It's a bit of a meme to react in this way.
So this film is made for TikTok brain, and as you're
that's
watching
what I'm saying,
the film,
yeah.
But as you're watching the film, TikTok of you watching the film, which is a TikTok film, is happening at the same time.
Yep.
So you've got 4 like TikToks going on at once.
Is Baudrillard still alive, or is he rolling in his grave, or is he still alive to actually see this shit happen that he predicted? Because this is incredible.
I knew nothing about Minecraft when I watched this, and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Man. Jason Momoa like faces off against a chicken, and I just put my hands
wanted someone to bury that pickaxe in the back of Jack Black's head.
Oh,
Yeah.
I hate
We're not
children.
going to touch on the gay flying scene at all.
No, wait.
Scene?
This is the one thing I can't forget to mention. Oh, sorry, Vex. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, we're not going to mention the gay flying scene at all.
I mentioned my review.
Oh yeah, I blanked that out like completely. That was gone. Thanks, Vex.
The 69 that has to take place between two men.
I was gonna ask if someone please could explain why Stifler's mom was in this movie. What the fuck was going on with that plot? Like I just kept staring. Like, what do you?
And no one found it strange that there's a fucking 7-foot tall blockhead in the fucking room with them.
Yeah,
they thought that was so funny though, and they just kept doing it, and they were cutting out of like the middle of action sequences to go back to that gag, like them in the restaurant. Like, this is so good. People are gonna love it. And it's like, what the fuck? Why are you doing this?
When she hit him with the car, he died, and she had to bury the body. That would have been funny.
The only thing just real quick.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
The only thing I got out of that scene was I find it hilarious that Jennifer Cooley has been a divorced MILF in pretty much everything I've seen her in. This now, White Lotus, and Stifler's mom. Like that's all she could do. Like she's just, it's crazy. The divorced middle-aged woman.
I felt like that was maybe a bit of an afterthought, just because a lot of parents would be taking their kids to take this, but that if you knew that you were going to have a bunch of moms taking kids to the movie theater, I don't understand why they didn't make Jason Momoa hot. They put him in a pink jacket and a really weird Dora the Explorer
because
haircut.
he's let himself
Aquaman.
go.
That's how
No,
they made
he
money
could
with
he
That's
could
on
still
him.
rock it. He could still rock it if they wanted to. Because remember, a lot of chicks just go to like Kraven the Hunter is a good example. The Aquaman movies are a great
A ton of
example.
people
Chicks will
saw-
just go
A ton
because
of
there's a
people
hot
saw
dude in it.
Craven.
That's what they did for
You-
Aquaman.
you
Like,
did,
even if
I
he's not,
didn't.
even if he's not in his prime anymore, I still think that would have been the better marketing strategy.
It would have, yeah.
True. Because the two kids offered nothing, like less than nothing. They took away from the film, if anything.
I knew
Yeah.
the black woman was gonna have a what the hell moment. She literally, like 2 seconds in, went, "What the hell?" when
Yep.
she entered the Minecraft world.
checked off. Like that's pretty much what
She
she's
had
there.
a black moment
What she's
about
there for.
2 minutes into the movie.
She even
We've
did a
gone
little,
back to
she did a
the.
little dance move at some point too. Do you remember that when she's fighting the zombies?
Oh yeah,
Why?
Didn't make
Why do
sense,
you?
no.
Why?
we've gone
Jason
away from
Momoa
the token white guy or token white character back to a token black character.
Yeah.
Was she even a
do
token
something
black
with that.
character, really? Because she didn't really have any black, quote unquote, moments, in all honesty. I was expecting
Well,
her to be a
she's
lot more
the
loud and
representation.
annoying, and she wasn't. She was just
I feel like a
there.
lot of her scenes were cut, don't you? Like she
agreed. Yeah.
was
She
just
was so
there. Maybe they knew she was
non-existent.
cringe.
Yeah,
I think they knew she was cringe or something, and they just cut it out because the little that was there was pretty.
yeah. The
lame.
most memorable thing they gave her was like the recycled screaming goats thing, equivalent anyway, from Thor: Love and Thunder, because she had a llama in the back of her car that screamed, and that was the big.
Was there did anyone see like the proper cut of this movie instead of the online cut?
I saw both.
Saw it twice.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did the
unfortunately.
llamas come in?
Same.
Because I remember the llamas being in all the trailers. Were they in the final cut of the movie?
For
Yeah.
like a
Yes.
microsecond.
We
Yeah.
were there. Just
But
because it
just
was
in the
a
background,
visual
not
gag.
Well, no, because
Oh.
yeah, there's that one
And at
gag
the
where
end.
like, isn't it all the pigs like run past and the llama's kind of like standing there awkwardly hoping not to be noticed, and then it gets ignored, and then it just looks up and does its meh thing at the camera or whatever. It's yeah, it's really
okay.
memorable and funny.
Gotcha.
I can't believe you watched this movie twice.
Yeah,
I
was
had
gonna
to.
say,
It's my job. I
Yep.
had to see it twice.
No
God
fucking
damn.
way am I doing that.
I
No.
said that, dude. I had my fucking hand or my head in my hands the second time I was watching it. I was like, I have to do this. I
I
have
have to sit through it again after this, but like I went to watch it again before EFAP on Saturday, and I put it on 2x speed, and I looked away, and then I looked back at it, and I realized I'd completely just conked out for the entire duration of the movie. It just not resonated at all. Turns out I didn't need to, because fuck it, there's nothing worth remembering. But what's the we have one thing we haven't mentioned yet. I guess the villain of the piece. What's the thing?
Miss Piggy.
More, yeah, Emperor Pigpatine, more,
Malgana or something like that.
Morgash. I don't remember most of these people's
Morgoth.
names. Morgoth, yeah. So that's an interesting character played by someone who can't do voice acting. The
What's
idea
wrong
that
with her voice?
she's just shit. That's that's wrong with her voice. She's crap at her job. But like,
She's bad.
so the villain's motive, the villainous pigs, we're told in the exposition in the prologue, say, oh, the pigs are evil, they've mined it, and they really want gold. You never see them wear gold, use gold, sell gold, do anything with gold, but we're told they really want it. And then only toward like the end of the second act of the movie do you find out why. And it turns out that the villain's motive in this movie is that she was in a talent competition called Nether's Got Talent, and she danced, and her dad said, "You'll never make any happiness being creative. Why don't you go find gold instead?"
I laughed.
I laughed at that. That's what I laughed at the movie. Like that's most of the thing. It's just I didn't even realize that was the villain at the time because I was still zoned out. But that scene itself was hilarious. But now hearing
But
you
the
put it
pig-
together, that's so
But
stupid.
the pigs are supposed to be uncreative, and yet they decide who their leader is with a talent contest.
Well, they don't, because like she loses the contest and she becomes leader some other way. It's not that makes her the talent. Like, but we do know that they have talent and the creativity there, because they, as you're first introduced to them, one of the little pigs comes up with a picture she drew, and she's like, "Oh, that's adorable," and stabs it and says, "But how will that make me find gold?" And so, like, Which is interesting to do because it establishes that the piglins themselves are not all evil. She's the evil one. And yet when they all burn horribly to death at the end of the movie, you're still supposed to be happy, even though you now know that they're not dicks and most of them are quite nice, probably.
Mhm.
No, I
Too
room
much
for her.
explanation for the villain to be a villain. They should have just kept it at, they just, like, was it The Game Theorist did a good, like, lore video about a year or two ago, and their explanation was just like, oh, they do want gold, so that's lore accurate. But because they kept mining gold, that's how the Nether became like a fiery, like desolate place, and that's why they want to come to the overworld, because now they can find all of the resources to mine and make more gold. Just keep it at that. Keep it simple.
But don't they establish that she can create potions that can let them walk around during the
Yes,
day?
they do.
They do.
It's
That's what they do.
completely
Too much
fucked.
explaining. Too much explaining. Just keep it simple.
But
And then
that's
spend that
not
time
the
on your
only thing
characters.
either, because they also established that her magical staff thing can just like pull the Tesseract to her, which is an incredibly useful thing that she just doesn't realize she can do until right at the end of the movie. There's no reason for them not already to do the thing they've set out to do, except that it's not time for them to do it, so they don't.
Is that the same scene where Jason Momoa pointlessly stays behind and pretends to die?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he had the big hero moment, the
Yeah.
next scene. Yeah.
That they just cut away from. Like they didn't even give him his like
Pointlessly
heart or second.
dies.
And he comes back in as the most transparent Han Solo ripoff ever.
Yeah, that was
It's
what I
just,
thought
he
of
just
too.
flies back
immediately.
in through. Well, he even uses the same line. You know, Han Solo comes in and he whoops and says, "You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home." And Jason Momoa comes in and he goes, "Yeah." And then he says, "You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home."
Oh
It's
my
not
God.
even like it's not a trope. That's just stealing.
He actually did that in the movie a couple times. I thought that was just like a gonna be a joke going in, expecting him to say that, but he really did go yeah, like
Oh,
at
he does
least
it all the
twice.
time. There's loads of them. There's like
That's his
15
thing.
of them.
It's crazy.
Doesn't it
No.
say he survived because he used the bucket trick that Jack Black did?
Yeah.
But he's already
Yes.
used the water, so how the
Mhm.
fuck does he survive?
Don't know.
I don't
Don't
know.
think
Does the
about it.
bucket
doesn't
have
matter.
infinite water?
It doesn't matter, as established in the opening scene of the movie. It just does. So let's move on.
I'm shocked that they didn't care at the very least to respect the rules of the game and incorporate that into the movie. It could be as shit as you want, whatever, do the same crap with Jack Black, but like for the people who know what they're looking at, like to be able to connect the dots and understand what works, like the lore of Minecraft, that sucks. That sucks for the people. There's just nothing you can get out of this movie for them.
Yeah, Jason Momoa and Jack Black both get to just be themselves the entire film. I was going to question, since apparently Jack Black is a major Minecraft fan, if they wrote it specifically for him, because there's no way they just wrote a Jack Black character and then we're like, maybe we should try and hire Jack Black.
Things.
The problem is he's not playing himself anymore. He's not being himself anymore. He's
a caricature of himself.
He is trying to be himself from 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's not natural for him anymore, and it's really overacting at this point. Like it used to be, he was young and energetic and silly and just and like that was his normal thing. And now it feels like he's thinking about, oh, what did I used to do a decade ago? I'll do that, and it just feels different. It hits different, as the kids say, and it's just not the same.
With Jack Black, though, it is like you said, he's a caricature of his former self, but it's still, for the people who aren't paying attention, it's still not that much of a drastic difference. Like he's still, just
he just
doing
looks
comedy and
worse.
whatnot. He just looks worse and whatnot. But Jason Momoa played fucking Khal Drogo, one of the most like masculine and badass characters you'll ever see on screen. To picture Khal Drogo and know what that character represented in terms of strength, and then to see him in this freaking pink shirt kicking pigs and whatnot, it's like such a fall for like that shouldn't happen, man.
Yeah.
Such a fall from that imagery in my head, just like it sucks, man.
His company produced this though as well, right? They were one of the
He's a big fan, isn't he?
Yeah, so I have a feeling maybe he had a little bit of a hand in how his character ultimately turned out, because he's kind of funding the project.
It's probably why he has the only thing approaching a character arc in the story. Like the most character work is done for Jason Momoa's character, and he actually does have a starting position, hard up, a backstory that kind of fits into the world, and a resolution to that arc at the end of the film, which is something that none of the other characters, even the ones you would expect to be more of the protagonists, actually have. So I wouldn't be surprised if he had a bit of input, at least, in determining which character gets the most work done for them.
What's weird is I'm a little shocked that it made all this money, because everybody that saw the trailer, like adults that saw the trailer, knew it was going to be shit. So everybody that was old enough to know better knew it was going to be terrible. And then my own sons, when I showed them the trailer when it came out months ago, they were all kind of like, "Oh, okay, that's a thing." They all asked the same question, like, "Why wouldn't it just be animated?" Like they watch animated Minecraft stories sometimes. They're like, "Why is it live, people?" And then their friends who play Minecraft, none of them were just amped, like marking it on the calendar. Oh my god, I can't wait for the Minecraft movie to come out. There's a guy that I stream with sometimes, 30 NSG. We talk about video games and stuff, and his son. He said he watched the trailer and his son just turned to him and said, "Why did they do that?" That was his question right after he watched it. So like, I don't think a lot of kids were super pumped, and I don't know if like just parents didn't know, but and like, well, my kid likes the craft mine game thing. Well, I'll take them to see. Like, I am a little confused that it made as much money. I thought it would be. I thought it would do okay because it's just. I mean, of course, name recognition, but it's like destroying expectations, and I don't know anybody that was excited to see it. Like. Maybe they all went to see it ironically. Like it looked like The Room, like the new This Is Our Room, and it's going to be so terrible we can laugh. I don't know. I'm confused.
It's interesting you say that because I had a completely different experience because I work with children and I would just mention it in passing because they've got like Minecraft shirts and stuff like that, right? It's like, oh, are you excited for the Minecraft movie? And none of them said they were not excited or didn't know it was coming. Like all of them had legitimate excitement for this movie.
For the movie or the idea of Minecraft content?
No, they just love Minecraft, so they'll do anything they'll watch, they'll play anything Minecraft related. So they were excited because it was just more Minecraft.
Yeah, but I think that's my point. I don't think people were generally excited for the idea of a Minecraft live action adaptation. They were just excited for more Minecraft and
more content.
Their brain does the work. It's kind of what Platoon was saying earlier, where like it's just vapid empty nonsense, but it's such a strong fan base, they will do the work for themselves.
I went to a Thursday 3:00 showing and it was packed with families and kids dressed in Minecraft attire. Not just attire, like some kids were actually dressed up as characters. It was a packed house at 3:00 on a fucking Thursday. So I mean, it speaks to the box office numbers, but I did not see that coming. I think I predicted like a $60 million opening. Holy shit, was I wrong? That was so far off.
And that means like we're gonna get more of these if it's making this much money.
Yeah,
and this is why I was saying earlier, where I just feel bad. Like I love fans. The bottom line, even if I have no interest in the content whatsoever, I love fans. I love people who are gonna go and dress up as crazy characters and support their shit. I just respect fans of any kind, and these fans deserve better. They deserve better than this movie. It's so shit. Like
there's got to be a name for this phenomenon. I think Barbie started it, where people go not because they think the movie's good, but because it's a trend. It's everyone on TikTok has to go and see it. This will be the new type of blockbuster where nobody actually goes for the movie. They go to say that they've been to the movie.
That's a TikTok culture
type of thing. I mean, there's like a little bit of merit to that. That there's like a communal theater experience. It just sucks that, like, even if the movie was, I don't know, like, it's just not great. It just sucks that it wasn't great, or even like middling, because it would have been fun too. It's like, you guys remember when MCU was big, like Phase 1 and 2, and like going to the theater was like it was so cool. You would go and everybody was excited, and even the not great movies were still fun, and it was part of this big building lore that was leading up to Endgame and all of that shit. Like, it was fun. There was a communal aspect to it that was really great. And then the movies were of at least average quality, and that was cool. I don't mind that portion.
This is happening. We saw it with Barbie. We see it with Avatar as well. Everyone goes to see Avatar, and nobody can tell you what the plot is. Or
Wakanda forever.
But it's 3 billion, 2 billion. These make a huge amount of money. Zero cultural impact.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's becoming more and more popular.
You do wonder as well, like whether or not like the enterprising theater chain, because there's all this conversation about like, movie theaters dying and all the old ideas they're coming up with to try and get people back in, letting them just smoke.
We'll talk about
those
that.
Fucking terrible things. An enterprising theater chain, though, must surely look at the success of not the movie, but the brand around the movie, the communal aspect of it, and think, look, if we can arrange some kind of bespoke merchandise arrangement with the production company, like you can buy all your Minecraft outfits at the chain, you can buy all your toys, you can buy all of this shit at the theater, which is what people kind of want to do because they're already bringing this shit to the theater. That's got to be at the forefront of somebody's mind because it's such a huge opportunity.
Good
They're not
idea.
going to see the movie. They're going purely for the communal thing, in which case exploit it, monetize it, just sell toys. Why
They are
the
with
fuck not?
popcorn buckets. That's
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
well,
pot-
it's-
saying
yeah,
that's
which is
kinda
one
what
of the
we're doing
only
now.
successful movie theater trends of the last few years has been
a good
those. So
gimmick.
just expand that massively, and you're in the money, surely.
But it's the downgrading of these movies to where it's just become content is just frustrating. Where there's people out there who will treat Godzilla -1 and Godzilla versus King Kong like it's the same shit. Just it's just big monster movie. They don't even really see the difference whatsoever. The fact that people can't see the difference in quality is the real problem over time. Because
Yeah,
if we can all
you've gotta be-
separate this, if we can all separate it and have like, okay, we have the shit empty content, and then there's still actual artwork, like literally separate theaters, then it's fine. But the fact that it's all mushed together as just content is what's frustrating for me. Like,
What do you think?
the idea of quality is lost.
What do you think this movie is going to be? Content or art? This is
Content.
This is
Content.
new Superman footage has been released, about 5 minutes worth actually. It's an extended scene from you've seen the trailers. Most everyone I'm sure in the chat seen the trailer. And it's when his dog, I forget the fucking dog's name, whatever.
Ralph.
Crypto grabs,
Where'd I get
saves
Ralph?
him, and brings him into the Fortress of Solitude. But
Steve,
yeah,
a giant retard.
I was gonna say,
It's just-
A
Ralph
he's gonna be
alien
called-
giant hands.
he's going to be called Ralph when I do my review at this point. though.
I don't know where I got that from. I have no idea. I'm just gonna say content in disguise as art. That's all I can say for it, pretty much.
Yeah, people are gonna say it's art when it's actually shit, and they're gonna be the most insufferable people since Snyder fans.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this will do more to try and tell a story. I think this will
It'll be
try and
better.
be a movie. I think it will try to be art. I don't necessarily think it will be amazing, but I will applaud the intent given the way that cinema is going these days. Even the pretense that a story is better than saying we don't even need one of those things. Writing, what even is that? That sounds expensive and boring.
Platoon, do you think you would do that if Snyder's Superman, if his Superman didn't exist? Are you doing that like, retroactively because of what we've had? Like if we snapped away that stupid Snyder Superman, do you think you would be more open to being less harsh on this one?
No. I mean, in the sense, I try not to base any opinion on like the comparator with another version of the same character anyway, but it's more the case that if it's a choice between a Minecraft movie that treats the story as the enemy and a Superman movie that thinks that a story is still kind of important, I will root for the Superman movie over the Minecraft movie
for sure.
and
That's
reward
easy.
it for that basic thing. But then in terms of like the actual quality of the film, the same rules will apply as they apply to every movie. Does it have a story? Does the story make sense? Probably yes, it will have one. Probably no, it won't make a huge amount of sense, which will be annoying. But yeah, it'll just be a bit depressing if it does so much worse than Minecraft, even if it is significantly better than that.
That's true. I just feel like the politics around the movie are really holding it down, just keeping it down, and it's going to be difficult to
there's
get
so
anything
much
off the
argument
ground
about it, right? Like people,
There's so
even
much
when the
on the
trailer
line.
came out, because you've already got a number of very vested groups who are kind of at war with each other. You've got the Snyder fans who are standing up for the right to have no taste whatsoever. You've got the James Gunn fans who are like, everything he does is amazing, which isn't true. You've got comics fans, you've got general movie fans, general superhero fans, Marvel fans versus DC fans. Like, everyone has picked apart like this trailer and then the first 5 minutes of the movie, which is what we got in the new latest release of footage, because that is the opening 5 minutes, which was very strange. Apparently,
beginning of the movie.
It's a very odd way to pick up, but I guess that's what it is. And it's sort of reached the point where I think I don't actually think there's any point doing this. I think I might just wait till the movie comes out.
Good.
Vex, are you being oppressed, Vex? Are you being oppressed?
You know
Are you
what? It's
oppressed?
okay. I deserve to be oppressed as both being a minority and a woman. So it's I'm
Perfect.
totally
So you're
okay
the
with
right
that.
amount of oppressed then.
I was
You need
totally
a
gonna
little
say.
bubble to just say
What were you
shit,
gonna say,
know?
Vex? Like it happened. Like it's
No,
like,
I
come
was
on,
just gonna
podcast.
add in because like I watched this release with like a bunch of like people that are actually looking forward to it and know like the comics arcs that this is clearly taking from and everything. And I think I had your reaction, Jedi, where I'm just like, I'm watching this and I don't understand what the fuck is going on because these are all just references to, I guess, suit the fan base, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, I guess, but there's nothing as a normie audience member that's making me think like, oh, I want to watch this right away.
The best one of the best examples you'll ever see Arcane season 1, the very first episode. You get little tiny Easter eggs that people who've played the game are going to appreciate, but people who haven't played the game aren't going to get distracted by or like completely confused by or anything like that. It just blends in naturally. So you get it's a bonus for the people who played the game, but still functions as a story. Like you can know nothing about League of Legends and watch Arcane, but you'll get more out of it if you have. It's like that takes talent to do. This is like, who is this for? You're gonna have people like me who haven't played Minecraft and be like completely confused, and people who have played Minecraft are gonna be completely disgusted and disappointed. So I don't know. Who's this for?
What was everyone's opinion on Superman screaming when Crypto jumped on him?
Dumb. It was stupid.
What a bitch.
If that's the first 5 minutes, it's a very interesting way to lay out what is supposed to be a hyper masculine character. First of all, we get to see him getting beaten to a pulp by a tiny white dog in the first 5 minutes of the film.
After getting beaten up by something that we don't know. So we know that there's something out there that could whoop his ass. Why is that my first impression of your Superman?
Yeah.
The entire point of this dude is he's like unstoppable. Work around that premise.
But maybe that's their setup, is like, it's Superman. So if the movie opens up with Superman getting his ass kicked, like maybe that
trying to humanize him.
Gunn's idea is to make you feel like, wow, this must be a really serious villain if this is how, if this is how we're starting it out. I don't know if that's going to work or not. My fear with that movie is that they introduced 8 characters in the trailer, and unless the movie's 3 hours long, I don't know how we're gonna cover all that without it feeling like Age of Ultron again, where every scene was 5 seconds long.
He's juggling more things than he has to now because of that.
The Justice League might be only being like 2 scenes. That's the only way it works.
Yeah.
And they just did it for the trailer.
Yeah, more than likely. I think people are going into that too much. I think it's mostly going to be a Superman movie, and that could be just their one scene.
Right at the end, they're just setting up the Justice League for later, kind of a thing.
Maybe. But the idea of introducing him like in a weakened state like that, it just puts pressure on you now to like you're starting where you have to build yourself back up now, where we could have started from a clean slate. So there's more pressure on the writing now, while he's also juggling all these other things, while there's also so much pressure on the movie, while there's also so much scrutiny on every single thing that comes out. So it's like, I don't know. It's a strange approach. I can't say it's a bad approach until I see what they're setting up, though.
I'm glad it's not an origin story. Like that's the one really huge positive thing that I want to point out, is that we're not showing where Superman came from. Again, like I feel like Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, we don't need to know where everyone knows. Everyone knows at this point where they came from. So I'm glad that it seems as though the movie is just going to start and he is already Superman. We don't have to show him getting the job at Daily Planet. We don't have to show him meeting Lois. Like, we get it. We know who you are, and you're in love with Lois, and you work there, and you're Superman, and no one knows. And we can just do it right there. That's great. Start from that. Don't waste time.
The problem, though, is that it could feel like you've walked in to the second movie of a trilogy.
Yes.
That's what I've heard someone say. It sounds like we're in like season 3 of a show and like I have no idea what's going on type of thing. So jumping right in is refreshing because we've seen the origin so many times, but it's also risky. Like if you're trying to juggle all these other things while not establishing the character first. So this whole movie is fascinating. I have no idea what's gonna happen.
Maybe they'll do like Spider-Verse, I think, handled this excellently because they realized, look, we don't have to show how Spider-Man became Spider-Man again. Well, they did with Miles, but with the rest of them, and then they just did the comic book intro of like, hey, you know who I am, I'm Spider-Man, a couple of comic book pages go, and then boom, Peter B. Parker is there, and we don't have to show him again, and we just jump right into it. And I thought they handled that really well with kind of winking at the camera of the audience of like, you get it, you've seen a lot of origins, you don't have to do this, we'll recap it super fast and make a joke out of it and then get on with the story. And hopefully they'll do that, maybe to ease that like second movie of a trilogy feeling.
Isn't there supposed to be a scene where Superman and Lois talk for 10 minutes about what it is to be Superman?
I hear this is like a 10-minute dialogue scene or something.
And that sounds terrible.
Doesn't sound fun.
Is that from the early previews? That's what people are saying?
I heard Chris Gore was talking about it.
Okay.
And I think he saw it. So 10 minutes, a big 10-minute scene in the middle of the movie where two characters are going to be discussing Superman, what it is to be Superman.
Well, it depends how they handle it, right? Because, Daredevil was rightly praised for a long dialogue scene between Daredevil and the Punisher about, what it is to be a vigilante, what it is to be a hero, whether their respective tactics against each other. But you have to have two very well drawn characters with two very well fleshed out points of view, and
That's what I was
the
gonna say,
ability
yeah.
to write intelligent, captivating dialogue. And the setting around it has to be compelling too. So it's whether you trust James Gunn to be able to do that, and I'm not convinced I do.
When you
But
have
that
two
was a TV show.
vigilantes, that's a little bit different. There's so much more for them to work with and the difference in their philosophies. Who's Superman? What the hell does he have to say with her? Like, especially in their first movie. It's like, I can't see it working the same way.
I think there's it'll be, you know, that Indian kid who's raising up a flag. I think they'll talk about whether or not Superman gets involved in foreign wars, interventionism. But I don't think they'll really go too in depth because that's a very hard subject.
See, to me, that's a direction it takes Superman that I think is actually kind of interesting. That you go with the he's only one guy, and how much does he have a responsibility to do sort of thing. Like, to me, that sounds like a fun storyline. Although it admittedly could get kind of boring because it's very philosophical and it's hard to like make that visually interesting. But I think as a storyline, it's kind of what they did with The Dark Knight. Like, you know, who do you choose? Who do you save? What do you do? What's right? What's wrong? You know, is it those sort of existential questions of superheroes? I think that's a little, I don't know. I think it's different for Superman for sure.
I'm down for that. I think. Go ahead, Reaper.
I was just gonna say, you were talking about Daredevil before. It works better in a TV show because you have time to explore that. You can have a whole episode of just two characters talking. You can't really do it in the middle of a movie.
Yes,
Just a big 10-minute block of people kind of talking about Superman, but not really, because they can't go too in depth on the subject.
Like, I'm all down for those scenes. Some of my favorite superhero content is that exact same thing, right?
Hold on, the chick wants to say something.
What is it, Max? What do you
Am I
want?
allowed to speak, gentlemen?
No.
Good.
All right. I will stay silent then. Go on.
Permit, you hussy.
Just real quick. I was just gonna say, like the conversations between Professor X and Magneto, the arguments between Tony and Cap, Daredevil and Punisher, like we mentioned. This is some of the best superhero content, like exchanging the difference in philosophies between them, not just them punching each other, right? If they can achieve scenes that are on that level, I am all on board. I just don't know how you fit that into this movie when there's millions of other things juggling. Like Reaper was saying, like it's easier in a TV show when you have time, or like at the end of a movie, like Professor X, where they had like multiple stories together. But this has so much to juggle. Where are we gonna get? Like James Gunn has to fucking nail this movie. This movie has to be phenomenal. I don't know how else it can. It has to be like Penguin level good. You know, I just don't know if it's gonna achieve that level.
Penguin level good. Jeez, go ahead, Vex. I'll allow it.
No, thank you so much, Sensei. Thank you.
Sorry, Vex. Sorry.
No, I was gonna so James Gunn, he said that this was going to be part of a larger universe, and that started off with Creature Commando back in, what was that, November, December, and so that's the start of this universe, which is a red flag there. The other red flag for me is that of all of the things that James Gunn could have released of behind the scenes footage or of the cast and crew, the first thing he decided to release about his universe was how the voice actors mimicked sex from Creature Commando. I don't have a lot of, I like just where James Gunn's head seems to be, like outside of, you know, the
up his ass.
Yeah, that's a little strange to me. That's a red flag to me.
He put himself animated in the credits. They had a whole basically exit of the credits. It was just him typing on a typewriter the script. How fucking smug can you get?
Like it's an interesting premise if they do start off, oh, here's Superman getting beaten down and then he gets built back up. But your first trailer that you showed me, and even because they played a little bit more kind of trailer footage at the end of that 5-minute clip, it's still like you're throwing me a bunch of things from the universe that have no context. So is that going to be a filler for all of the work you could be doing on your script, or do you actually know what you're doing with all of these elements you're tossing up front?
Mic drop, Vex.
Sorry.
No, that's true. It's true.
She gets
that's what's got me
back in the corner.
Back in your pin.
Shit. Well, there are other superhero movies coming out. I don't know if you've heard of this one, you guys. but this is Avengers Doomsday. It's going to star Robert Downey Jr. if you've heard.
Oh my god.
Four
He's back?
But a
characters
little
in
bit of
this, man.
information has been revealed, but was to be assumed, one might say. The Avengers, Wakandans, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, and original X-Men are all fighting Doctor Doom, assumably separately. This is starting to remind me a lot of how Infinity War played out, where there were separate groups and they were all having a hand at fighting Thanos, one group at a time, and he was going back and forth. But that's the thing. Thanos was set up over multiple movies. We have no clue about this version of Doctor Doom. I mean, if you've read the comics, you know who he is. Most people know who he is.
That's what they're relying on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to get everyone's thoughts on this about this setup and
Doctor Desperation, man. That's what I'm feeling like.
Well,
Pretty
yeah,
much.
that's
It's
for sure.
Yeah, this is their last card to play, and they're going hard with it. Yeah.
I do
What
have a
Avengers
question.
is the real question. Like,
right? Who
the
are
Avengers
they?
at this point?
Nobody knows.
So
Even
far, I
in
think all you've
Captain
got is
Wakanda.
new Captain America that nobody likes, and then new Falcon that people like and know even less than new Captain America. And then maybe the young, like you've got Kate Bishop, who tried to recruit Ant-Man's daughter that everybody fucking hates. So you've got like the threads of possible new Avengers group. And I'm seriously, genuinely, what's the group? What's the Avengers group at this point?
If they have the Avengers, Wakandans, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, the original X-Men, the only explanation is they're going to make them all stupid in order for them to lose to Doctor Doom. They're not going to write this well. Like, Infinity War was a miracle. Like, looking back at it now, the fact that actually worked, they can't do it again. I have no faith. Like, I will be as super cynical as possible. And I'm willing to eat my words. I would love to have an MCU movie that I love again. But
Plus, are you going to have the same? Are you going to have the same emotional moments with the villain that Thanos had, where he killed Gamora?
No, Thanos.
Right, because we don't really care about anybody yet. The Fantastic Four are yet to be introduced. The Wakandans are not being led by Black Panther. They're being led by some fucking anorexic
his sister
retard. The Thunderbolts, not like, maybe it might be good. It most likely will just be okay and forgettable. And the only thing we really have to cling to are the original X-Men, and that's entirely based on nostalgia. And nobody likes the current Avengers, whoever they probably are.
Yeah.
The Infinity War had the foundation of there were, I think, essentially two groups. There was like Iron Man's group, three groups: Iron Man's group, Thor's group, and Captain America's group. And they are the Trinity of the Avengers, so it made sense.
Thor Guardians was one of the best ideas.
Right, Thor putting Thor with Guardians was great. And so you had those three as the foundation of each group, but this movie doesn't have that, and that's going to be key to this movie's success.
Even, not to interrupt, even putting Doctor Strange and Iron Man in the same plot line was brilliant. Having both of those personalities clash. If you didn't do that, you're an idiot. But they understood those opportunities and didn't waste any of them in Infinity War. Like, it's still fantastic. Even the tiny details of the end of, like, how Thor attacks Thanos last, all the other Avengers come and attack him. Thor attacks him last because he's not wearing a transponder. And you see all the other Avengers using it throughout the film. So just little details like that just connect in such a fantastic way. And you don't even think about it until you rewatch it. And I just don't see that same type of passion anymore. Like, how could you go from Phase 5 to this and do something on par with Infinity War?
Well, what's going to be Doomsday's motivation? Because again, Thanos, what made Thanos so interesting was that he had an ideology and he was willing to sacrifice what he loved to achieve it.
Yeah.
Doomsday isn't going to have that complexity because he's just going to be a conqueror.
Well, no, I think so. If they do follow the Secret Wars comic book from 10 years ago, his Doctor Doom is the villain, but he thinks he's saving the multiverse because of the cataclysms that universes interacting with each other causes a cataclysm, and eventually the entire multiverse will be doomed. So he thinks he's saving the multiverse. That is what I think will be the foundation of his character.
It is just, it would be really convenient if they'd actually shown us any cataclysms resulting from any of the previous multiversal incursions.
Mentioned it.
They were mentioned, Multiverse of Madness. You can't do it. It'll create incursions. And then for the rest of the phase 4, 5, and 6, incursions happen left, right, and center, and nothing goes wrong. And then they introduce the concept of fucking anchor beings, which is just an entirely different thing.
What does Loki have to say about
the
all
problem
this?
is you get rid of those instead. And you've still got Loki anchoring like the entire multiverse together, and I think this came up like a couple of weeks ago when we last discussed it. I mean, there's not really an easy way to use him unless he is the target for the villain to get to. So, like,
I think
the race to save Loki or something like that will be the basic plot.
How would you explain Loki to someone who hasn't seen a TV show? So Loki gets his neck snapped. Then that's the last time you saw him. Then you watch Doomsday. He's literally the god of fucking everything.
He's a tree in the center of the universe.
He's a giant tree of time.
It's so
How would you explain that?
I do have a question actually for the people that I guess, because they revealed that Sue is pregnant in the Fantastic Four movie, and I know that whoever her kid is in one of the storylines is basically like God in the Marvel universe. So
Doomsday,
does that? No, it's like someone completely separate. Yeah, I'm just wondering, doesn't that kind of imply that maybe Doctor Doom is just going to be a shoehorn for something else, and that's why they put Robert Downey Jr. there? Do you think that changes what the outcome might be or the play that they might take for the Doomsday arc?
That would make sense because they can't. I was gonna say they can't keep him there long term over the budget. Like, this Robert Downey Jr. deal has to be a short thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're setting something up. You could be right.
I think the movie's going to be one gigantic fight scene. If that many groups are in it and they haven't really been introduced, it's going to be one continuous action sequence for 2 hours, and it's going to oddly get boring because there's too much going on.
Unless you do it like a Royal Rumble. Dr. Doom is in a ring and he comes in first, and everyone's going to try and get him out.
Well, that's what Secret Wars is supposed to be. Like, my understanding, right, is that it's Battle World is just a gigantic battle, right? Like, and it's my from what I've read and been told, it's kind of just kids with toys from every line, just fuck yeah, they're just fighting each other, hell yeah, this is awesome. And then it all ends and there's a singularity, and that's how they kind of got the sprawling storylines of the comics to rein back in. And that's what they're going to have to do with these movies. But I don't think that it's going to look as cool as it felt in the comics for a lot of people. I think it's just going to get bland real fast.
Interesting.
Yep. So everyone's super excited about this.
Massively excited about this.
I will BRB you guys. Be right back.
Right, well, since all of the thing we just discussed is reliant in a large degree on the next of the big Marvel movies to come out, I'm discounting Thunderbolts because who gives a fuck about them? There's been a little bit more news, and so this is kind of related to what we were just discussing, the fact that nobody has any pre-established relationships either with the villain or, it turns out, from, if this is any guide, with each other either, because we're not going to have any crossovers in the Fantastic Four film, it looks like. It will just be the Fantastic Four. There won't be any like interaction with anybody from any other part of the MCU, so there won't be any relationship building in this movie. It's an interesting choice, because that means that all the relationship stuff has to start from scratch in your big Avengers film. But is this the right decision, do we think? Focus purely on the Fantastic Four and have nobody else there?
It's not a bad idea, but again, now you're jumping into, because the first Secret Wars movie is 2026 or 2027?
27 is the Secret War.
Yeah, so that's very little time to build up your characters on their own, especially when you've got a million other Marvel movies coming out at the same time that are also trying to build characters, and they're not coming together in any way.
No, I mean, I think this is the last one between. So it's Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four. We don't mention Ironheart because it's Disney Plus and nobody wants that to exist. It's Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and then there's nothing, is there, between Fantastic Four and Doomsday? Doomsday is the next big one to come out.
That's a strange choice then.
Yeah, I think that is correct. Yeah, I don't think there's any movies.
How dare you not mention Ironheart, you racist.
If if this was at the beginning of Phase
Ironheart's
4,
going to be
it would
so
have been good
fantastic
to build these
for all
up.
of us in our views. Sorry.
I was just saying, if this was not the last film as a Phase 4 or 5,
This is the first film of 5.
Yeah, Phase
I've
6
been-
even. First
I've
of
lost
6.
track of all that
6.
phase stuff.
Jesus.
I have no idea.
6.
See, exactly. You could have said 7. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's a great idea to build them up and just focus on the story, but it's the worst time to do it is just before Doomsday, which comes
This is-
out 2026.
Yeah.
That's how they cannibalize their own content. We're like, oh, this movie being its own movie is a bad thing because we have to think about these other movies down the line when we can't even just appreciate. Like, this is how it's been turned into content. Nobody cares about the movie. They only care what it's setting up and whether or not it's going to connect it. Like, how about just make a good film and start from there? I just don't understand why they can't go back to the basics. They haven't learned from the last 5 years of bullshit.
I think it is because of the proximity to the Avengers film. So it's one thing to say, like, if you're starting at the beginning of a phase and you have an entire phase worth of movies to build characters up individually and start teasing their relationships and the links between them, and then it culminates in an Avengers film at the end of like year 5 of this project. That's one thing, but it's when there is one movie and then the Avengers film when everything has to come together. It's because I'm in favor of, like you say, like actually reverting to the way they used to do things. Unfortunately, the time scale doesn't allow them to do that because they have a huge, massive like conglomeration event thing happening a year after this comes out. So it's whether or not they require any kind of crossover to start doing some of the pre-lifting work that Avengers Doomsday will require.
Like, it worked with Guardians. Guardians didn't have any connection to the Avengers prior to this, so I'm using that as an example in my head. But like, I just can't see like I said, Thor and the Guardians was like just miracle. Like that it just worked perfectly, and it was a great way to blend them into the MCU and slowly have them clash. I just don't know how you can get these people in. Let's say Fantastic Four is as successful as the Guardians. There's just no characters in the MCU right now for them to clash off. What are they gonna do? Like with Captain Wakanda and like the Thing?
They have time travel is the other problem because this takes place in the 60s and all the other characters are in present day.
It's a different
it's
universe.
60s in a different universe, though, so it can still be running concurrently with our present day because it's like it's retro futuristic as opposed to just being retro.
So they still have to jump through a portal, though. Then, right? If they're
but
this really is confusing with
this, and he's
sorry, what was that, Greg?
Aren't they going to meet Dr. Doom at the end of this? Like, doesn't he get introduced at the end of Fantastic Four, and that's how like right at the end they get tied into the current whatever MCU?
One would assume, but I think Dr. Doom is going to be fighting people across the multiverse, like the Fox X-Men, this Fantastic Four, and then whatever Prime 1 Earth or whatever 616 Earth, whatever the fuck it is, 616. But my thing with this is it's very confusing. Remember that line in Doctor Strange 2 when he referred to Fantastic Four, alluding to the fact that they existed on the Prime Earth. So I'm just really, I don't know. It's hyper confusing.
Didn't Wanda spaghettify him?
Yep,
that version of him, yeah.
The world's smartest man. He went, "Listen, Wanda,
here's how you kill me
if he talks."
Oh god!
But then she also snapped Professor X's neck as well, and he's coming back for this movie. And then there's all the other questions about which X-Men timeline are we stealing from? Like, are they coming from Days of Future Past? Are they coming from a universe where that never happened? Are they coming from Logan where they're all dead? Like, I don't understand, but I don't think the movie will even try to explain those things.
They're not gonna bother. Like Doctor Strange, MOM has like 3 different rules for how multiverse works, and it conflicts with Loki, then it conflicts with the first Doctor Strange, then it conflicts with
Spider-Man.
It's all and it's all fucked. They can't even explain their own shit. So how can we like expect to comprehend it at all? They need to just chill out.
Didn't Deadpool and Wolverine kind of explain it? Question mark.
No, they came beings.
It was also confusing.
Okay.
Saying they invented anchor beings, which is your universe dies if you die. Which, how does a universe function before you're alive?
Or after you die of natural causes? It's just like every universe has a very, very limited time window of about what's the average age? Like it's like 75. That's the average age of a universe. Is just when people die of old age.
And where's America Chavez? Why isn't she fixing all this shit? Where's her parents causing
She'll
incursions?
be in the next row of chairs when they
That's what I'm
finally
saying.
unveil the rest of the cast of this new Avengers movie. There'll be that all the young Avengers will be there, so she'll be there, and
When
then
I
they'll
know that-
probably throw in some random people as well, just for good measure.
When I know that America Chavez, Gaia, and Captain Marvel should exist somewhere in this universe, how am I supposed to take anyone seriously when I know this? It's just, you know what I mean? Like, what am I supposed to do? You've broken it completely. You need to reset the whole game. It's
Can you
nonsense.
imagine if they brought Gaia back? Like the
Gaia.
scene where they
I
try
wanna see
to
her
explain
arm.
it. Someone says, "And what's your powers?" And she just says, "Everything."
Everything, all the power. It's just completely. I need that guy. I honestly, you just made it. That's the number one thing I want to see. Somehow, some way, bring back Gaia, Amelia Clark's Gaia. I need to see those biceps again. What a
The
fucking
strongest
monstrosity.
See
Avenger.
those biceps
woman.
again.
Holy shit. Stupid. I feel so bad for her. But,
She got a hefty paycheck. Don't feel bad for her.
yeah, but her
Alright.
career is in the dumpster. Like everything she touches turns to shit. You know, sucks.
These next several slides are all connected here. It's Platoon brought up earlier about ideas on saving movie theaters, and it looks like a few studios have actually come out with some ideas. In particular, AMC CEO Adam Aaron says 3 major studios have agreed that they need to bring back the 45 theatrical day window.
Okay, but what happens if the film you're landed with is Snow White or Madam Web? Then you're stuck with 45 days of empty theaters. This isn't
Probably you should
actually
just-
the be-all. This is not the golden bullet that people are looking for. It
No.
still goes back to the quality of the film. It can even be worse if you basically say, yeah, protectionism for movies now. We have it for everything else. Why the fuck not movies too? Just have 45 days of no other competition. But if nobody wants to go and see it, then the theater is screwed. They're making no money.
In any other industry, they would eventually have people smart enough to know that it always comes back to quality. But when it comes to storytelling, it's the one
Minecraft.
like blind spot that people have. I'm convinced that most people don't understand what a good story is. They just know they've watched millions of movies, and that's how you get this shit. It comes back to quality. I don't care what type of window you have. What are you gonna do with your fucking Captain Wakanda? Like it's a complete terrible strategy, and it's so bizarre that they don't have that same connection of the producers and the creatives that they had back in through like the 70s through early 2000s. Now it's just become just producer madness, it seems like, and too many cooks in the kitchen.
Just to add, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Vex. You
Oh.
have permission.
Thank you. Just to add, I think even if it's a good movie and you bring back the 45-day window, you're not going to see a switch very quickly because audiences have now been trained that, oh, if I just wait, it'll be on digital. I don't have to go and spend $15 to $20 on a ticket. And this is not like something that we just got introduced to. It was a slow and steady pacing, and then COVID happened and people just started dropping things immediately on there. So this isn't even a good way to try and get it started. You have to incentivize theater goers. And I guess that's what why the popcorn buckets work so well, or why even like as much as Barbie is a terrible movie, it got people into the theater. It was an event. It was an experience.
Yep. It was one of the best marketing movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Barbie, Black Panther, and the Blair Witch Project. Those 3.
Yes.
I've never
So you
seen
got to
anything
incentivize audiences. Just having the movie running for 45 days isn't going to do anything.
Yeah. Black Panther was trash, but they made an event out of it.
Yeah.
I'll never forget my sister trying to like convince me that the Blair Witch Project was real. And like that was her pitch. I'm like, no way. And, like you can't get away with that anymore. Yeah, she would try to torture me with any horror movie she could. But that one I just remember being so immersed because of that. And you can't do that anymore. You can't. It's very hard to make an event out of it. Infinity War, that was an event.
Yeah, well, they've got a really tough uphill battle because there's tons and tons of content. People know the stuff is going to come to streaming soon, and even if it's like 6-9 months, like who gives a shit? Like there's so much to watch. Nothing is really like a must-see event, and then it's really hard to market because there's no one place you can put your marketing dollars that everybody's gonna at least hear of something. Like there are whole movies that come and go that people just never even heard of. They don't even know they're in theaters. And so you have to convince them that the movie exists and it looks like a lot of fun, but also not give the entire movie away in the trailer, because then they just
Oh,
feel like,
yes.
well, I kind of know what is going on, so I don't need to see the movie now. It's really, really hard to get butts in theaters. And then that's not even detailing the price issue, where it's just cheaper to like buy a movie on digital. It's $25. That's the same or less than 2 evening tickets, not even counting concessions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you have kids, all the popcorn and drinks, it adds up. You have
Yeah.
to make it an experience that's worth all that. And it's, yeah, not to mention travel. It's complicated. But back in the day, all that was worth it, because you'd come out with something that you're never going to forget. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When's the last time, I think everyone on this panel could say, when's the last time you've had a theater experience where like, yeah, I'm so glad I saw this in the theater? Like mine was -1.
Endgame.
Um,
Was that your
Endgame, that was
face?
it.
I think Dune.
Was that your
more
face
recent
when
one.
you watched the Minecraft movie?
Mine was Terrifier 3, because my husband and I went to a double showing, and it was
that
just
was good.
Terrifier fans in the
Yeah,
theaters. So we
that
all
was
had
fun.
like the same experience.
That's the community experience is a big part
Yeah.
of it as well. Yeah,
Mhm.
-1, like hit the atomic breath was like, this is what IMAX is for. Holy shit, that was loud. Like,
Further ideas on how to save cinemas. Regal CEO suggests they have texting auditoriums and let people smoke weed in theaters. I'm not
Just
saying we're
not-
gonna test. I'm not saying we're never gonna test it. We should test everything.
What?
just hotbox the shit out of the theaters. That's their plan. Like, are you serious?
Oh my fucking god, they are desperate.
I would have been all over this idea when I was 15. I'd be like, man, but
For
no.
sure.
Mm-mm.
No, I don't think that's the solution.
People already text all the way through movies.
Yeah.
Like, what's this going to do? Loads of people are already high when they go and see movies. I think that's
Yeah.
about 75% of the enjoyment for the Minecraft from people who are older than 12 when they go and see it, is that they're just high. And then good luck trying to then enforce anti-copyright measures if you're allowing people to have their phones out all the way through the movie. Obviously,
Mhm.
someone's going to record it.
I skipped that part in my head. Like texting auditoriums, is that what they're referring to? Like allowing people to use their phone? Like what's the
Specific
purpose?
auditoriums, it sounds like.
Where you can just whip out the
Why
phone
would
and
you
text.
want to even like what?
Yeah. Well, that just says the movie is so Netflixified that you can just be texting while it's going, and you can still.
Why would you
get
want to
most
go
of it.
out to see a movie if you want to be able to specifically be on your phone? I can't wait to put my phone away and not look at it for 2 hours if it's a movie worth that. Like it's just, I don't get it, man. That is the worst. That I'd rather hotbox the theater. That's a better idea than the stupid text. That's retarded.
So wait, they want people on the phones and to be high at the same time. There's going to be fights all over the place.
What? Lost phones? Like it's just a stupid idea all around. Triple their popcorn sales. Maybe that's their real strategy. Just in the back of their head.
Yeah. Yep.
I think they're on the right track right now. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead because I was gonna go to the next slide.
Oh,
It's all
okay.
wrapped together. So it's
Gotcha. I mean, like cinemas are kind of on the right track. I like that they're getting a little bit smarter and like picking like really popular movies and doing re-releases of them. So like I saw someone mention Princess Mononoke in IMAX, which is apparently a great experience, but not playing near me, so I can't see it. But that's a great thing. Like Seven got a full like 4K like remaster, and they put that in IMAX back in January, and it actually made pretty decent money at the box office. I think if they can just again give people an incentive. So like these are movies that I never had a chance to see in theaters, and I'd happily like drive the 20 minutes to go see it there if it were
100%.
near me.
Yeah.
The
I agree.
Thing, Aliens, so many of the classics that I didn't see any of them in theater, and it would be amazing too. And there's a market in that. Like there's always going to be hardcore movie fans like us, and
that would
we want
only
to fight
last-
this TikTok crap.
But you'd watch all the films in like a month, and then you got 11 months of just shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's what you just got to be smarter with it, I guess, too, right? So like it was interesting with the 7 release because they did the theatrical IMAX run first, and then they released the remastered DVD or sorry, Blu-ray cut after that. So the incentive was get them in the theaters first and then give them the option to watch it at home. And you had like I think it was in 2 or 3 weeks that it was running in theaters over here in North America. So you just have to be a bit smarter with it. Like you retrain your audience a little bit out of what they because like Mickey 17, it was on digital 18 days after release.
Well, it bombed.
that too. But
which
like
is why the
that's crazy.
45-day window is really kind of, it should just be a per movie basis.
But
if
Yeah, it has to
bombs, then
be
you're stuck with it.
contextual.
yeah, so
Because that used to be a metric back in the day. The faster
Mhm.
it goes to DVD, the shittier the movie
Right,
is.
the
You know what I
worse it
mean?
was.
true.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay, fair.
And that's for some like kids. Even I knew that was a thing. I didn't understand business to that degree, but
Yeah.
you just know
Mhm.
that's how it works.
It
Mhm.
still is a thing to this day. Like I would be very surprised if the Minecraft movie is out of theaters within 45 days.
Mhm.
Like
I
Mario was
specifically-
in cinemas for like 6 months, I think it was, before that went to streaming. So
Mm.
And then you have the opposite. I remember waiting ages to get my hands on the Lord of the Rings DVDs. They made you wait for those motherfuckers because they're so good, you know? So it was the opposite for like good stuff. So yeah, it's just always been a really good metric to look at.
Mhm.
I like how it's anything but make good movies.
yeah,
We're trying to think of
Yeah.
anything because they don't have any.
They don't know what a good story is. You know, they don't know what storytelling is, and they're making it for people who don't care about quality. They're on their phone half the time. So
Well,
it's been
it's also kind of like
tricky.
you're bombarded with so much content so much faster. Like even if you just think 10 years ago, I don't remember us getting the amount of stuff immediately one click away as we do now. Like I go onto Netflix or Amazon's app and I'm just bombarded with so many choices. There's so many not opportunities. There's so many things that I could be watching that it's like why would I bother going to a theater when there's so many options right here at home, sort of deal. Is the
Isn't
other
that
thing.
an actual phenomenon? The more choice you give someone, the less they make.
It is. Yep.
Mhm.
It is.
100%.
So now you're asking that same person who's been trained to act in such a way to make a decision about one single movie at a
Think-
movie theater.
Just think about a restaurant. When you see 7 items, you read through them all, you can have an understanding what it is. Versus like something that has 37, you're just overwhelmed. You just
Mhm.
can't even like you know you want something in there, but you don't want to go through the whole thing. But it just becomes this annoying process. Versus having a high quality smaller list to actually go through.
Mhm.
But it all comes back to quality. If you don't have that as your foundation, then you're screwed.
I do have a question actually. Does anyone know what the general breakdown is of how much how much money a movie makes if it goes straight to streaming? Because there's a whole deal with distribution and then ads and whatnot that's made, right? Do we have
Well, I
any?
mean, they're very, very cautious about releasing figures, even for viewership, when things go
Okay.
to streaming. So there would be the different models as well. Does it go to a studio's bespoke streaming service like Disney Plus, in which case, theoretically, it could be said to make no money because it's going to subscribers. And so the only money generated is if it generates new subscribers. But if it was not successful enough at the movie theater to get people to pay to see it, it's unlikely to get people to pay for an entire streaming service to watch it.
Mhm.
But then you get the rental options on Amazon, Sky, and all the rest of it, which I imagine will make them a bit of cash. But the reason they leave movies that are successful in cinemas longer must be because it makes them more money than not doing so, which kind of just suggests that moving them to streaming is the second best option at most, if not the third best.
There's been a few like instances where there have been streaming services that have paid like an obscene amount of money just to get the distribution rights for streaming. So at least the production company makes some money back on it versus in theaters. But I'm just wondering if there is a standard or a metric that we're aware of that they work by. But that explains it. Thank you.
Yeah, it would be nice if there was. I'd love to
Mhm.
see them actually publish accurate, reliable figures for all of the failures that they stick on Disney Plus, but we have to sort of, do our best to read between the lines.
Mhm.
Oh, there is more movie advice. Paramount. Limit trailers, no adverts, matinee pricing until 6 p.m., discounted tickets on multiple weekdays. So, hey, movie theaters, you aren't making very much money. Have you considered charging less money and so making less money and also not actually getting any ads, so people aren't paying you to run ads and making even less money? And also fewer trailers, so like fewer people are going to see trailers for things. This seems like a list of things they shouldn't be doing more than the list of
that's
things they should.
silly. It's like a 10-year-old made this list of just like wishful thinking, not actually
Mhm.
understanding the business. No ads, like just don't get paid, bro. Okay, like that's the strategy to making more money. What?
The discounted tickets thing, like there's only 2 theater chains where I am. Like the main one does discounted tickets on Tuesdays, but those sell out really, really quickly. but there's another chain that's much smaller that actually does do discounted pricing at specific times of the day.
Mhm.
So that's all. Like, I don't know what it's like for you guys in the UK. I know the US has tons of options for cheaper tickets, but there are already theaters that do this on their own.
Yeah, some of them do weekday deals and stuff.
Mhm.
It's my local one. I think I'm about to pull the trigger on this because they have like a monthly subscription for tickets. I think it's like $10 a month. You get a free ticket, or I think every ticket is $10 or something like that. So
Mhm.
if I lock in with them, it's it's cheaper overall, and to see a lot of movies, it's good. It's a good deal. But they have this stuff, but even at a discount, it's just still very expensive. And that's
It
the
is.
big complaint is that, well, people are seeing shit. Like nobody saw Novocaine, nobody saw Black Bag, nobody saw The Day the Earth Blew Up, but everybody went and saw Snow White and shitty Minecraft. It's because it's names they recognize. And even
Mhm.
if they know it's going to be garbage, it's just like middling a known quantity garbage. And it's not going to be, I don't know. I'm not sure why people avoid the unknown stuff, but that's the thing. When tickets are that pricey, you're just like, well, it's Disney, so I guess I'll see that instead of something I don't know anything about.
Very few people are allowed to tell original story nowadays. Like they have to have it attached to some iconic character or some comic or something like that. Isn't that the story with Todd Phillips and Joker? Like he had a movie he was going to tell, but then they wouldn't do it unless it was attached to something
Oh yeah, you're
that's
right.
marketable.
Yeah.
Like there's
Yeah.
probably so many examples of that, of just like they have a story, they actually have passion, but they have to attach all these parasites to it because the producers don't think it's going to sell unless there's Iron Man in it. And then let's throw in Darth Vader in there, and let's throw in like whoever, Sonic, who cares? It doesn't make any sense, but it's going to make money. And
Well,
I hate that, man. They're just screwing with all these characters, messing around.
Well, brand has always been what sells. The only difference was back in the 80s, it was a movie star. So you
Yeah.
went to see a Sylvester Stallone movie, you went to
Mhm.
see an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. The only
Mhm.
difference is nowadays is that the brand has nothing to do with the actors, it has to do with the IPs.
Characters, yeah. The
There's no
characters
movie stars
is what people are
anymore.
going up for. Yeah, they don't give a shit about them. And
So that's
Robert
why
Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doolittle failing was a good example of that. Because if the Iron Man fame carried over, then that wouldn't have been completely a bomb the way it did. But people love him as Iron Man. You know what I mean? Even though he's a talented actor. Look at Chris Evans. They love him as Captain America. Look at his career elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean,
You
he
know?
was a slower burn, but obviously Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man were neither of them particularly hot properties when that first started. It is
No, they
possible
made
to
them.
create brands, but you do actually have to have a movie that is at the very least solid.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, if you go back and look at the average year in the 80s and the number of iconic films which are not brand or even particularly character or actor led, but are such good movies that they created franchises that are now being sort of raped to death this very day. It still says like if you create something that's really good and worth watching, people will turn out to see it eventually. Word of mouth is still a big thing, but usually those things will not be massive, huge financial risks in the first place. You'll spend less on them. The story will be much better. They'll be very tight. They might be 90 minutes as opposed to 2 to 3 hours long,
They'll
for
keep
example, or
trying.
things like that. And we're spending so much money now on things which are longer and longer and longer, which are nowhere near as creative as the stuff we used to spend less money on, which were shorter. And then the people who do have really brilliant, innovative new ideas tend either to get overlooked by movies or they tend to prefer to go to a streaming company because now they get similar budgets, but they also get more time to flesh out their story. So like once upon a time, you might have had The Penguin as a movie, for example, but you didn't. You had The Penguin as a streaming service because that was just better for the story it was telling. So there's
Much
competition in
better.
that respect as well.
Much
you,
better, man.
In the 90s, you had DVD secondary sales, so things could
Yes.
become cult classics. Blade Runner was a flop, but it made its money over the DVD. And there's a clip of Matt Damon talking about this. This secondary revenue stream is what kept a lot of these unknown films. That's what made them into what they are now.
Yep.
The Thing, there's so many examples of that like even Austin Powers, I'm pretty sure the DVDs is what saved Austin Powers. It didn't do good initially.
Mhm.
And I'm there's probably a bunch that we're not remembering that are actually classic movies or iconic movies, but that happens all the time and they completely cut that now. It's such a strange, man, watching industries transform is just fascinating, but that was a massive thing. Saved so many movies we love.
Hmm.
Yeah, the streaming wars has been fucking awful.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a failure.
And the problem is with DVDs, you knew exactly which sold because you bought a specific DVD for a film. Whereas, fucking, if you've got a Netflix subscription, you might as well watch the fucking Squid Game season 2 because everyone else is kind of doing it. It doesn't tell you you're buying a subscription for Squid Game. You're just kind of throwing it on, walking out the room. You get false analytics all the time. It's all bullshit.
Yeah. Smoke and mirrors, the streaming world.
It is. Any other studios with terrible advice? No, but why is this a slide? Saying, oh, he's not here. I can't blame him for it.
Well, don't you?
Why is this a movie? Better question.
Did so well. That's why.
Audience?
What did you say?
Isn't this the worst audience? Platoon.
Yes.
Go after you the most.
Yes, they're horrible, horrible people. I don't like them. Actually, like some people who I like ironically enjoy this movie, I'm sure are quite nice people, but the Reddit community for this kind of the Monsterverse is very special place. Made up, as far as I can tell, of like it's like autistic children and people who spend too much time around autistic children.
I've got no problem if you like big monster movies and you enjoy them, but defending them as good stories is like, come on.
Well, now you can kind of understand why Minecraft is doing well because this stuff is popular and people defend it.
But it's got a giant fucking ape and a fucking Godzilla in it. I can understand this being popular. Minecraft, to me, as someone who's never seen the game, was like baffling. Like,
you see, as someone who has seen the game, I can understand why Minecraft is so popular. Like,
but this has a superficial appeal that some people just, I'd rather watch this than some drama. Who's
right?
Like you're a dad and you have a bunch of kids that you have to take out. This is an easy pick to kill in 90 minutes. But don't defend it as quality. Like I agree. No fucking way. No
totally agree.
Way. And I think that's what Platoon's problem was running into. Like people tried to defend this movie.
Yeah, Cynic had the same issue too. Everyone who did a negative Godzilla review did. Yeah.
Well, Cynic had it and then got massively shat on. So I thought, well, I want some of that, and went straight in. And my goodness, a whole brigade of people came over. It was really enjoyable. Like once every 2 seconds for a period of about 17 hours, it was just a copy pasted comment from thousands of different people who'd come over from Reddit. To try and accuse me of being, I think, racist about monsters. I don't know what they were complaining about, but
racist.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I sort of made like an off-the-cuff joke about like Black Lives Matter take down landmarks to protect them from monsters because the monsters always destroy landmarks. So actually, if you knock down all of your famous icons, then the monsters will leave you alone. And then I just got a flood of people saying, "Oh, wasn't expecting racism in a Godzilla review in 2024," and it was just the same comment. Thousands of them over and over again. It was very funny. And then there was one person who basically lived in my comment section for 4 months, replying to every comment on that video. And he left like 17,000 by the end. And occasionally I just check in on him. He's like, "Are you still here? Oh, you are still here. Have you been outside at any point this year? Because you should probably consider it." But he was like, "No, I live here now." So it's like, fair enough. All in good humor from my side, at least. I was looking at like the performance of this franchise as well. Because the last one, the one that was awful, much like the others, I think it made $500 million against a $150 million budget. So, and that was the highest grossing of them, I think, as well. So it's like, it's on the up slightly. It's not a huge money spinner, but I guess they view it as just sort of reliable low-level returns, right? Because $150 million budget, it's probably in total going to be like nearer 300 for marketing and stuff like that. So it's making a decent amount on top of that. Not a huge, but enough.
I'm also just... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's got two of the things that they need built in. The brand names and just the casual appeal, just throw in the big monster movie. It just works. It's part of the reason the Jurassic World franchise will never die, because dinosaurs is like, they've got a lock on that market, and that, it's just not something you're going to get high quality in any other franchise. So they're just going to keep pumping them out as long as they make money. But for me, I felt like -1 should have put a damper on these type of movies, like showing that we can do these monster movies, but in a different way. So there's actually more substantive. And it's just kind of sad, like.
But it was the interesting and useful thing about this film is that it came out so close to -1, and so like it For people who just going to associate, if it's got giant monsters in, all you need is giant monsters being dumb, and people will watch it and enjoy it. And it's like, well, we just had a very, very good example of how you can take this premise and make a really, really good movie and
we
story.
didn't learn
out
anything
of it.
from it.
Blockbusters don't have to be stupid. Well, no, because they have this reflexive kind of defense mechanism that lots of like isolated inbred mountain tribes do whenever you present them with, you know, foreign genetics. They kind of like circle the wagons and start saying, well, you're not allowed to compare it with that film. Like, why? Because everyone's comparing it with that film. Oh, yeah. And
because
why?
It's an accurate comparison.
Because it's useful to compare. And to be fair, in the video, I said I was going to make this comparison. And then I realized watching this that there's no point because none of these people have self-respect. And I still got accused of making the comparison that everyone is making. It's like getting called a tourist as though anyone would willingly live in the Monsterverse fandom. So it's not an insult, but like, you should be able to compare the good version of the film with the bad version that has a similar premise. That's not that hard to do. It just teaches you how to write better stories. Like, surely you want the best stories for your favorite characters.
That's the beauty of comparison. There's so much to learn. Oh, sorry, Vex. Go ahead. You're still trying back there. Go ahead.
Oh, no, it's okay. Thank you. No, I was just saying that every time they release one of these Godzilla movies, though, there's always a bunch of like toy companies that also do a massive re-release or rerun of a lot of toys. So I imagine just by making this movie, the box office numbers alone, there's probably hundreds of millions of dollars unaccounted in merch that they're also making, because that happened when like all of these actually Monsterverse films, every single one of them, I always see like, oh, here's a new Godzilla statue or King Kong statue, or you can get like the axe was a thing as well that you could buy. So
and the fact that you're not relying on a specific actor who's going to age out eventually. You can just keep pumping these dudes out, variations, anything. But like what we were saying before is just, it's frustrating that for the one time in history that we might never have again, we had two movies out at the same time, big monster movies. One was fantastic, one was just slop. And we somehow didn't learn anything from it. And we went in the direction of slop instead when -1 was critically praised. It just says a lot about society, like how quickly we can forget.
It is like saying like Jaws comes out and then is immediately followed by Jaws 4: The Revenge. And people say, well, why are you comparing Jaws to Jaws 4?
Yeah.
It's like, well, because it's one of these is excellent and one of them is absolute garbage.
Yes, this is my entire point here of like that's I'm so glad you made that example, because that's perfect. That is the idea. We can all see the difference between the original Jaws and Jaws 4: The Revenge. It's a fucking joke. Michael Caine, look to this day, hasn't even seen the damn thing. But most people nowadays won't be able to see the difference in quality between those two things. And we have an actual example with -1 and the stupid Godzilla Kong movie. It's real. It happened on this planet. And it's frustrating because it'll happen again, you know? It's the type of thing I would think would never happen.
Apply this standard to myself. When the live action Gundam movie gets made, which is apparently potentially starring Sydney Sweeney in it, which is just going to be very interesting to see. I'm sure I will love it, and I'm sure it will be absolute shit. And if I review it, which I will say, this is absolute shit. But it was kind of fun. That's it. That's all you have to say, and there's no argument to be had, but apparently, no, you can't ironically like things. You have to like them, and if you like them, then by definition they must be good. That's kind of where we are.
That's the only way to
back
do
right
it.
in time, huh? For Godzilla. Godzilla 3.
I'm shocked that there hasn't been a Gundam movie yet. Honestly, like
they tried a few
I can't believe they
times.
haven't. Yeah, I'm actually surprised as well.
But they are now apparently moving forward. And I have seen in a few different outlets that Sydney Sweeney is potentially going to be in it, like the lead in it, which will be interesting. I can't really see her as Amuro Ray personally, but maybe they'll create a new character.
There's a few franchises that you need to pay respect to and do it correctly. Gundam's definitely one of them.
Yeah,
I think Attack on Titan is another. Like, I do not want to see those made in this era. It could possibly be done, but we're not in the time. This isn't the timeline for it. And anime has historically been really hard to translate into on screen. Yeah.
Well, the closest you've had until now is probably Ready Player One, right? Because I mean that had live action quote unquote cameos for a huge number of franchises. And like, if you're incredibly shallow, as I sometimes am, I could look at the Gundam in Ready Player One and say I really like that, and then I remember that it's part of a shit movie, and then I disavow the rest of it. But it was nice to see.
Well, that's what's working for Minecraft fans, just relying on all the shit that they had in their head for the game.
Well, Japan's a bit more protectionist with its franchises, but now that One Piece is doing so well and you've got other versions coming out, it's only a matter of time before all the mangas get raped.
Yeah. It's true. I don't want to see it. They're gonna make Naruto. They're gonna make
Rapening is coming.
all
The
the
great
popular
rape.
ones. Yeah, I'm not looking for it. I never got into One Piece, but I'm happy the show was a success to some degree. But you're
But
right,
this is
man.
how
I'm
they
not
trap
trying to
you.
see. This is how it
The
happens.
first season is always all right, and in the second season they go, right, now that everyone likes the first season, we can fuck with the show.
Just fuck around.
Hasn't that
Squid Game
happened with
season
One
2,
Piece? Didn't the
Arcane
showrunner
season 2.
recently leave One Piece because like he had a battle with Netflix about them changing a bunch of story material, and
That's the
he
word
said
on the
like he
street.
won the battle, but then he quit because he needed to focus on his mental health, which tells me that Netflix
Dang.
were asking some really stupid things and being very, very stubborn about it. So,
The entire
yeah.
reason the first season was successful was because that guy being as meticulous as he was. And like, I just don't understand. They created it. Have some respect. It's insane. It's like the George R. Martin falling out with Dan and Dave. Stupid.
I was just going to say that it's the same situation because Oda was heavily involved, the manga creator, and I haven't really heard much of him since. And just like George R. R. Martin with House of the Dragon, he's already written blogs saying that they're fucking with the source material.
Keeps
And it
happening.
always happens. It always happens. You
keeps
get
happening.
one or two seasons, and the fucking showrunners go, right, this is my franchise now.
Oh, it happened in Wheel of Time too. They had Sanderson on as like an advisor, and they were like, "Hey, what if we make Perrin like a whiny bitch who accidentally killed his wife, and he's just like a mouth breather the entire time?" And Sanderson has said publicly, like, "I fought that. I tried to get them to change it, and they pretty much said, "Hey, you're the one the author trusted to finish the series when he was dying. Your opinion means fuck all. So we're just going to change it the way we want." There you go. Have a seat.
Have
Here's
you
your
been
check.
watching that? Have you been watching in season 1? You have a pregnant woman fighting 3 men whilst giving birth.
That was actually book accurate. Honestly, that was one of the
That's
only book
impressive.
accurate things. And that's crazy
She
that
gets
everybody brings it up,
stabbed in
like
the
how dumb it
stomach.
looked. But in the book, that's what they did. But it looked weird live action and not having it described in words.
She was crowning as she was stabbing people. And not just that, she gets stabbed in the stomach where the baby is, and it comes out fine.
Oh, jeez. I haven't heard a good thing about that show ever.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's terrible. I haven't started watching season 3, and I feel like I have to because I have to make a review of it, and I don't fucking want to. I don't even want to. I don't even want to watch it just to make a video. Like I would get. I try to emphasize that sometimes in videos. Like people don't understand. I get paid to talk shit on things, and if I don't want to watch something, that I would get paid to talk shit on. That's how you know it has to be really, really terrible. That's how bad some of this shit is. I didn't finish the second season of Rings of Power. Like I could make money to watch that and talk shit on it, and it's like not. I don't want to do it.
Oh, you didn't see Glug? You didn't see Glug, the sensitive orc?
I watched 4 episodes of that, and I couldn't keep up. I just fucking
You didn't see Slimeball Sauron? You're bringing back all the fucking memories now. That was
Well, you just knew they would make orc people too.
Yeah.
They've done that with the new Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry.
No, what'd they do? What have they done?
And the demons are people too. They're refugees. And the problem what they've done with the show is, which is actually hilarious, is that the main bad guy, the human, does an Iraq war invasion of hell whilst American Idiot is playing, and it doesn't make him look horrible. It makes him look badass.
I haven't gotten that far in the series, but there's like heavy Dick Cheney Bush era war politics that they try to work into it. Yeah, like there's a whole race of demons that were taken from hell because hell is just such a terrible place. And there's like, oh, we wanted our families to have the best lives possible, and the White Rabbit gave us that. So that's why we're here. Like, not all demons are bad.
How is that your priority in a Devil May Cry show when you have fucking Dante, Virgil, and all the potential of demonic possession and all the this should be rated R, like it's man.
Adi Shankar came out and said in an interview that it's about the politics. Like this is a political show essentially.
Well, Adi Shankar, whatever his name is, he was one of the people who complained about a poo. and got
No, he
replaced.
wasn't.
Wow. But literally every character in The Simpsons is a stereotype, but only Apu is offensive. That's so stupid.
Oh
I
my
hated this show.
goodness.
And with
God.
Well, like-
Dante wouldn't give a fuck about politics. How are you gonna make this work? Like,
Oh,
this
no,
Well,
so-
Dante's more just an idiot. Lady is the main character,
Yes.
and she says "fuck" every sentence.
Also, like the
Like-
world mechanics make no sense. Like I'm only 4 episodes in, so I still have half the
It
series
gets
to go.
worse.
But that's what I've heard. Like I'm just even noticing episode over episode. But they build up Dante's abilities to basically be infallible, and you see him like take out like 30 guys in this like raggedy apartment at once. And it's totally cool. It's fun. It feels a little bit like Dante. And then Lady comes in, and Lady's got this fucking ugly mech suit that she's basically never worn in anything. And she is able to like take him on as a 16-year-old human girl, if we're going by the canon that Adi Shankar is working with. And she's able to like one tap him and throw smoke at him and steal from him twice. And she continuously does that every time they encounter each other as well. But
Well,
then
it
he's
gets
able
worse.
to. Oh God! Don't spoil
Dante-
it! Don't spoil it! Don't spoil it!
Well, Dante gets beaten up all the time after this. Though that human
Oh.
encounter is the last time he's tough.
Oh no!
Like
Bro.
Lady is fighting like 4 demons at once, and Dante gets knocked out by like the big red one.
I saw that, yeah, and they're all demons from different Devil May Cry games as well, and they don't even use the demons' powers or abilities in a proper way in the fight, which is even worse. She's like, here's a connection just
Stupid.
for having the sake of a connection.
They slap it in. They don't even know how it works, and they're probably
No.
ignoring Devil Trigger and everything about the character. That
Oh.
the first thing they show about Dante in the very first game is that he's fucking OP as shit. He gets like impaled and then just fucking like pulls himself out of it. They want to establish how strong demons are. You have to work around that premise. You
Well,
can't just make them
Dante-
shit.
Dante can survive like an
Ah.
explosion in the neck, but he can't win a fight.
Against a girl.
Not just that as well. She is the main character. Dante's just there as a plot device. They've redone the entire demons. So demons are the innocent people. They Sparta, like when Lady is retelling the story of Sparta, she it's the most insufferable story you've ever heard. Like she
Agreed.
goes, Sparta sealed the human world off or some shit 2,000 years ago, which is the least he could fucking do. That's actually word for word how she says it.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Fuck that
just-
show. Fuck everyone who's involved with it. I can't even believe what you guys are telling me is real. That's just
You know what's
I
you know what's
love
really
Dante.
wild though? Like the opening. Sorry, one last thing I'll say, but the opening scene for the series, like where you see White Rabbit and what his motivations is and his like power and whatnot, it was kind of cool. The animation was solid for that too. And then after that, it's as though that opening scene was used as the pitch for the series 8 years ago. And then they just got someone else to fill it in the last 2 years, essentially. Because it starts off pretty strong just with that opening scene, and it's just free fall after that so
drops.
far.
Frankenstein storytelling, man.
Well, in other video game related news, Nintendo has delayed its Switch 2 pre-orders, which kind of upset me because of the Trump tariffs. Well, according to Nintendo anyway. Pre-orders for Nintendo Switch 2 in the US will not start April 9th. No. In order to assess the potential impact of tariffs and evolving market conditions, excuse me.
May I, sirs?
Fire.
Yes.
I think the evolving market conditions is they realized the fans weren't going to put up with that fucking
The
bullshit.
$80 fucking
That's
video game.
what I think
$100
too.
for
Like
your first hit.
this is all just to avoid the
An
PR, and now
excuse.
they can recalibrate for a
Yep.
little bit.
Yeah, but does it
Um,
make sense that they're going to go down in price because of the tariffs? I mean,
Yeah, that will
probably
be
not.
the way to test that theory is what price does it debut at when they do announce the pre-orders? Because if yes, it comes back onto the market and it's lower, probably you're right. That was just a PR move. If it comes back onto the market and is the same or even higher, then they're quite correct, as to be fair, most people are, that the tariffs have fucked a lot of people over. They're not likely to make this cheaper. So I mean,
can't
I would
imagine.
be surprised if they're a savvy company. I would be surprised if they hadn't sort of pre-factored those in before they announced the initial wave of pricing, because it's not as though it came as a complete surprise to
Yeah, this isn't a
everybody.
shock.
So,
But-
what one of? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go.
I was gonna say just one of the. I can't remember who it was. It was someone at Nintendo though. They had actually moved production from China to Vietnam in like 2019 or 2020 because there was already some ongoing issues with tariff prices. And then this announcement came. Then same day Switch 2 was announced or had their Nintendo Direct. Then those tariffs were announced on top of that. But even before they announced this announcement, sorry, I'm saying announced so much. Before they let this out, the Nintendo, so it's not a region locked console, right?
Well, there is a
Japanese-
region locked version, but yeah, the main one is not region locked. So the
Yes.
Japanese version, which is cheaper, is region
Yeah.
locked to Japan, but the
Gotcha.
international one
Okay.
isn't.
Is that why there's two versions of the Japanese one?
Possibly.
Oh yeah, there are. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because they were still priced significantly cheaper than the US one before the tariff stuff.
Yeah. Which again leads you to think that they probably factored the tariffs in to a degree because there's
Yeah.
not going to be international things. Somebody in chat just said Nintendo never said it was because of tariffs. That's the media spin. It's right there in the tweet, dude. Just read the screen. It's the word tariffs is
It
You can
literally
also buy
says
this on the
Trump
website.
tariffs, bro. It's right there. How'd you fuck that up?
top of the page. But it's fine. You know, not everybody's watching whilst they're listening. I understand.
Okay, fair.
But it's going to annoy a lot of people. Sometimes when people you like do things which are economically nonsensical, it means you have to spend more money on things you want. I've heard lots of people on the internet, Twitter recently tried to defend these things by saying, yeah, but you don't need to buy luxury goods, which is, it's fine. We'll just speed run all of the left-wing arguments from the last 20 years and we'll do it all in the space of a week. Fantastic. This is what we all wanted to happen. The tariffs will be there forever, but also they won't be there forever. They'll replace income tax, except that they're just a negotiating tactic. They won't raise prices, but they will, but it doesn't matter because as Lauren Southern, I think it was, said, no, Lauren said, losing money is good for your character. Fantastic. Great one.
What a fucking ballsy thing to say.
So yeah, I mean, I'm annoyed at this, and it will be interesting to see whether or not, if it does come back on and it is cheaper, then they might still try to use tariffs as the excuse, but that suggests that actually they realize
not even
people
the
wouldn't
system.
actually.
It's not even the system that people were upset about the price. It was literally the video games because
Yeah.
It was everything else.
well, there was a lot of feedback going on, and we didn't know because Nintendo totally botched the Direct in one sense because they didn't announce any prices really. It led to a lot of speculation, and a lot of people are speculating that physical copies are going to be upwards of $90, and so you don't know what's misinformation and what's real.
Mhm.
They're already doing a lot of these things that people are bitching about.
Yes.
Now with the regular Switch, I have a massive Switch physical game collection back here, and a lot of them are like like the Assassin's Creed Ezio collection or Assassin's Creed Rogues collection or whatever. It's one game, and the others are just download codes. You don't actually get all of them physically. So they're already doing this. And we don't know officially if the physical discs are going to be $90 or not. It's all just speculation, which is totally Nintendo's fault for botching that anyway.
They'll probably
no matter
do
how
it.
you slice it.
They'll do it and they'll fucking get away with it. Like Nintendo, honestly, I fucking hate this company so much because they keep doing this shit and fanboys keep eating this fucking shit up. They're a horrible, horrible company. 2 years ago, they released a Mario triple collection or whatever. I can't remember.
The
It was like Mario
All-Stars?
Sunshine
It was
and
the
Mario
All-Stars collection, yeah.
Yeah, the All-Stars. And then they were like, this digital product that is just fucking ones and zeros, we're going to have to take this off the digital store in a couple of months to definitely not create artificial scarcity and cause you all to just consume mindlessly these products that already exist, and we're literally just re-releasing them as a package. But you better buy now because we're going to take them off the fucking store. And people ate that shit up. They're going to eat this. They'll pay $90. They'll pay $500 for it. They'll keep taking a pounding from this fucking company and thanking them because, well, at least they have Mario and Yoshi. And oh my God.
Well, that's the thing. The games rule. Like they're great fucking games, man. And Nintendo knows it. So that's why they do this to us.
They'll sue the pants off of anybody that even says the word. Well, I can't say the word ROM. I can't say it out loud. I'll get fucking sued for even speaking it out loud. Shit that they refuse to sell to you, but will sue you for downloading or mods or I mean, God, they are a horrific fucking company.
Bring
And
back
people
the
keep buying the
eShop.
shit.
Yeah, and I was ready to pre-order. I was gonna get, but at the very least, I was gonna get the digital edition where it's a reasonable $50 for the game instead of $80. But what are you gonna do?
Was the $90 price tag really just spread by influencers? Because I see that on virtually every gaming reporting site is saying that same information.
Are they just playing the same thing that the legacy media does and just reporting what they read online as fact in order to get people to click on it? I do not know.
Just because, like there are some sites where I wouldn't trust it, but then there's other sites that are usually pretty good with reporting that kind of thing. So interesting.
And and that was the thing. Nintendo didn't officially confirm anything because they're fools. Like during the direct, they knew that the prices were going to piss people off, so they just allowed the consumers to figure this out on our own through third parties. And then I was reading an article from a person that used to work at Nintendo in their marketing department and said this has basically gotten completely out of hand and like out of Nintendo's control. So
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be fairly easy to check, right? I mean, what was just the list price for the games on pre-order in the stores that had pre-orders open? I mean, I would have thought that's where the numbers came from, even if they didn't announce them at direct.
Yeah, like I'm reading here, like someone in chat also posted it, but it was a European store listing that kind of boasted the extra price.
I can believe that it was made up by shitty influencers because fucking any unreliable number on the internet over the last week has come from a shitty influencer. But like this one seems easy enough to check. So like for it to get around so quickly in so many different outlets and nobody just thinks, hey, why don't we just Google what the price is at fucking Argos or something? That seems slightly unbelievable. But if there is one company that can kind of get away with it, right? It probably is Nintendo because Nintendo it's the only company that does actually reliably produce top quality games. You don't like the fact that they seem to be aware of this, but the answer is more competition from the other games manufacturers and gaming companies. Like, but if you're looking at a landscape where like a modern Xbox exclusive is rarer than unobtainium, then what incentive do you have to make your prices competitive? If you want good, reliable games that with all the characters you like and the stories you love, Nintendo is kind of the place to go, and until people can start competing with them properly, then I don't really see why the price should drop too much.
And I fucking hate that you're right, because Xbox bought a bunch of studios, and their answer to that was like Redfall. So yeah, you're not wrong, and I hate it. But that's where we're at.
Didn't South by Midnight come out and no one's playing it?
Yeah.
Seems like they forgot that even existed. Is it out now? Has it got what is it? I assume it's not performing very well if nobody's talking about it.
Not at all.
No,
I think there's like 500 players on Steam.
No. And Sony has, their first party studios, like they're letting Druckmann run Naughty Dog into the ground, so that's not going to work out real well.
Did you see we're getting another Last of Us 1 release for something?
Isn't that amazing?
On PlayStation 5?
So fucking crazy, dude.
Just to the point of like the quality of Nintendo games, because like I've been talking about this with like hardcore Nintendo fans since the Nintendo the Switch 2 Direct, right? And it's kind of varied now. Like there are still people that will just defend Nintendo no matter what and say that every game is great. But there has been enough like pushback that fans have like noticed specifically over the last 10 years that in some franchises here and there has been a dip in at least the narrative quality. But then the other issue too is that they're selling you a console with these kind of specs in 2025 that doesn't really justify the price tag A. And it's also the company's not really trying to evolve their games much past nostalgia. So I feel like it's a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to consistency with Nintendo. That's just from my observation.
I think Nintendo could literally say, buy it, you bitch, and people will.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, they basically did. I feel like during that direct.
Buy it.
The other side of it, right, is that isn't the console itself priced relatively low for like a modern gaming console, because
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I've seen prices like around the
$50
$400 mark.
higher than I expected, but
Yeah.
$450 makes sense. Like a
Well-
Switch OLED right now is $350. So
But it can be
$100
like
more.
part of the strategy, given that one of the major problems that, from what I understand anyway, that both PlayStation and Microsoft had with the last generation of consoles was even getting these things sold. I mean, they were very expensive and difficult to make. You had all the chip shortages coming through. You had the COVID disruption of the supply chain. They were basically like out of stock for months and months and months and months and months. And the Nintendo Switch has completely swept the market because it just sold so many units. Pricing the console itself quite low in a bit to keep the units going, which of course you require to play the games, and then upping the price of the games to make back the money you are probably not making from console sales might be part of their calculation. Because they're probably not making a huge amount of money on the Switch units, especially now because they're going to be even more expensive to make. So that might be part of the reasoning for making the games more expensive.
But this is just a Nintendo tactic as well. Like they haven't really shied away from inflating prices on things. Like there's plenty of games from say like the Wii and Wii U generation that they sold initially as a remaster at like $20, and then the Switch came around, and because it sold so well, they decided, oh, we'll take this $20 remake and price it at $60 now because you guys will buy anything, right? It's the same with all the little accessories. Like they announced that GameCube controller with the Switch
yeah.
2, and it's like it's what $90 or $100 before taxes, even though you can still like all of the games that you can use that for are still properly calibrated for the Joy-Cons. So they're just kind of like throwing things at you, and that C button is locked behind a paywall as well.
Yeah, that's so crazy. After the free trial, which ends I think March next year, a physical button is now actually locked behind a fucking paywall, like you just said.
And it's on the console by default, but you have to pay in order to use it.
What?
That's bullshit. That
Explain that to me. Like, how
Crazy.
have we gotten to the point where buttons?
So that's your chat button. And so you cannot use it unless you pay a nominal fee. After that, they're allowing everyone to use it for free until March next year to get everyone acclimated in the ecosystem and ready to pay them. Also,
you need a subscription to scroll your fucking mouse. Like, what the hell is this? What are we getting to, man?
They know it works because car manufacturers have been paying a subscription for like auto start features and shit. Like, it works.
There's
Fuck.
There's a game that should be kind of like an included game, like Wii Sports was with the original Wii.
Yeah.
And all it is basically you can walk around the inside of a Switch 2 and look at what it's made out of, essentially. And that sounds kind of cool until you realize you have to pay for it. We don't know how much yet, but you have to pay for that.
So like Astrobot, which was free and was awesome.
Right. Yeah.
Huh.
Just in terms of the specs as well, these specs are not up to par with any other console on the market. It's significantly lower, but it's priced the same as consoles on the market right now.
Yeah, that's the price problem, is that Nintendo has, that's kind of been their thing, is like they've always been a little bit behind in hardware, but it's cheaper and they have unique first party games, and people have just been like, well, I don't really care. You know, if I wanted the graphics, I'd buy a PC, or it's always the justification. So that's what makes the price really offensive on this, is Nintendo has always been the value option. Like, you're not going to get the latest and greatest. You're not going to get 60 FPS. You're not going to get these things, but you are going to get unique hardware and a cheaper price and whatever. And then Mario games and Zelda games and shit. And so them trying to hit this same price point with 5-year-old hardware, it's I don't know. It's still going to sell out.
They say the screen itself. Well, first of all, the screen itself is going backwards. It's back to LCD, so that 2 years from now they can make a switch to OLED and sell it to you. And then, but at minimum, when it's docked, it's supposed to be up to 4K and 120 frames a second. And when you have it mobile, it's 60 frames a second in 1080p.
That's the same words they use for console games. Oh, you can play this in up to 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be interested to see that up to thing. Like, it'll be up to when you're playing a Wii U game or something. Like, that'll be interesting to see because you could get a lot of frames per second on an old game that doesn't render much. So I mean, you could claim that. That's fine. I could play Final Fantasy VII original up to 200 frames per second. That's no problem, because you can count the number of polygons that are on the screen with your eyes. But
Ridiculous.
Oh, and I just released my Minecraft review on my main channel. So who wants to take bets on like if I get really negative feedback because I shit on the movie or not?
Oh, you
Oh, it's for
100% will.
kids.
They're all gonna say, "Oh, but it was for kids.
Kidding.
Why are you
It's for
watching it?"
kids. You shouldn't
Right,
be
right,
judging
of
it
course.
movie for kids. You're gonna get the classic.
You'll get the
should
full
tell
loads
them
of
that
them. Yeah,
you're
it's
a
made for
hard-
kids. It's a video game adaptation. It's dumb, and that's the point. It was never
Why do you
supposed to be
care?
good.
Yeah.
Why do you care? And oh, lol, it made $1 billion, so you're wrong.
Right?
yeah,
Yeah,
literally,
that's
yeah,
my
boom.
favorite one. It
That's
made
it.
a lot of money, so it's obviously good.
Mhm. Are you wearing a Minecraft shirt when you plug your sponsor at all?
I don't play Minecraft, so
Oh, I was gonna say you could like everyone would just drop those comments if they say, "Oh, he's actually a Minecraft player," so it's totally okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they
cover
might
your
say-
ass. Just put the shirt
Yeah.
on.
I tried to cover my ass by suggesting that the people who enjoy Minecraft probably deserve better than this. But
Yeah, that's what
you
I
know,
was saying. I feel bad for them because I just like I said, I respect fans and they deserve better for like for the legacy this game has to be attached to a film like this. Sucks.
Yeah, Chitty Walk says, "I'll get You're Just Grifting," which is also a hilarious one because if it gets negative feedback, then it's not necessarily grifting. It's not like I went out of my way to get shit on by a bunch of
Yeah.
Minecraft autists. But you
I
know,
never get that one, the grifting of just like, you know how much work goes into these? Like, why would you I don't know. The idea that we're passionate about storytelling is like the last option to them.
I don't
It has
get
to be
paid.
this.
I do this
Oh,
for free.
this one infested the comments section of my Godzilla video, being called bro by almost every single person.
Oh, it's
Bro.
a shorthand. Yeah, it's a shorthand to like immediately not to take that person seriously. It's like
Yeah.
beginning any comment with bro or bruh. That person has like an IQ that is basically it's not even room temperature at this point. The empty seats in Snow White are smarter than the people who make that comment. So
That is so true.
Dang.
All the comments I had that have bro in the first sentence, like the word bro, and
Not
it's
much
just-
value there.
Yeah, you're not gonna get much after. It's always gonna be a knee jerk reaction every single time. Bro
Yeah.
or bruh
Did
results
bro
in
just
some type
say-
of impulsive action every single time.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of super chats to get to. Any other words on Nintendo though before we move on?
It feels
Yeah,
like
that-
Yeah, fuck Nintendo.
This-
Yeah.
Fuck 'em.
I'm still
What the
processing
South
that
Park episode?
controller thing. I can't believe that is a reality. It's disgusting.
What's that
Pretty crazy.
South Park episode where they go to Walmart and it's alive and it
oh,
tries
I
to
know the
lower
one.
everyone with the bargains?
Yeah.
Just does that.
Oh, which one is that? I know. Fuck.
They
I
have to
can't
go
remember which one
into
it's
the
called.
middle and kill. You have to destroy the heart. And Stan's dad goes, "Go ahead, son. These salt and pepper shakers are $2. I have to buy them."
I'm mad at Nintendo. Like, I don't know. I love capitalism, but
The funny thing
Nintendo
is
thing
like
is making
Bite
me
you in the
rethink it.
ass,
I don't
bro,
know.
bro.
Maybe the commies are onto something. I don't know.
like the people that are upset with like this were like they had no issue with it when like Sony or Xbox were doing it, but it's only like when it comes to Nintendo you have to justify it kind of deal,
Mhm.
which is what is even funnier about all of this discourse. It's crazy.
TGB Monster, our first super chat of the day, says, "Hello everyone. It's good seeing you all, especially Reaper. It's sunny finally where I live and makes me happy."
Same
Good,
here.
yeah.
It's finally, the clouds have finally parted. We get about, what, 2 weeks of sun? Then it's back to the horrible, cloudy, dark ages.
Must
Is
be
your weather
whiter
as
than a
flip
fucking
floppy
ghost.
as ours? Like Vex last week was like a blizzard on Wednesday completely, and then you can.
I
go
had no
outside, like,
power for
you know?
5 days after that, by the way.
Jesus.
Like,
The very next day you're good. It's insane. Like you just could barely see my car looking off my balcony, and then the next day I
Right.
can go out with no shirt. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's
Our
Maine
weather
as
is
well.
consistently grey.
depression at its finest.
TGV Monster says, "Jack Black is the most Jack Black that Jack Black could be. Jack Black filled the screen with Jack Black while being Jack Black while being Jack Black."
True.
Yeah, pretty much. That kind of
Yeah.
sums it up.
Yeah. Yep. Joke of all butts says, "Vex's boob cam hype. Boob cam hype. Boob cam hype."
I did a fundraiser.
Yeah, where's the boob cam?
I unhooked the camera because I needed that port for my hard drive.
Bonesaw is ready. Says your kids love 69ing jokes, Greg.
They did like the manwich joke. Or the man sandwich joke. I won't lie.
Ground them.
Blaze Stone says, given we've left the era of woke slop and entered the era of slop, how long do you think people will suffer slop until standards are raised again?
It'd be another year or two.
I think even more.
That's what people said about Minecraft. They were like, well, but Momoa and Jack Black were just having fun. They were wearing cardigans that they knitted, and like they didn't hate the audience. They didn't insult them like Zegler, and like that is a step up, which is technically true, but that just doesn't mean that the shit is still good.
Yeah,
I'm tired of
hearing the excuse, which is not an excuse, but it also means I think it's going to be longer than a couple of days. How long? The woke slop era was what, 5 to 7, 8 years long, and that came.
I'd say 10.
Possibly even longer than that, yeah.
Marked at the beginning for me.
And that sort of came out of the ether. In other words, like there was never a period where the woke slop period was defined as a relief based on like the comparative entertainment value of what came before it. Whereas with the new slop era, we've got to go through all of the stage of people saying, well, at least it doesn't hate me, even before we get to the arguments about quality.
Yeah,
so
sick of that.
At least
sick of it wasn't woke, so it was good. Argument.
Think of how many movies and like established gaming IPs they have yet to plunder. You will see live action Wall-E at some point, probably. It's going to be horrible.
Incredibles. They'll do Incredibles first. That's probably the safest one.
It would be funny if Wall-E was actually done seriously, like Prisoners. Where's Wall-E? And he's going to torture a guy to find Wall-E.
I am
pay for that happily.
I'm probably the only one who gets this super chat here, but R says Minecraft Momoa is the answer to the question, what would a gay Roman Reigns dressed as Bret Hart look like?
I literally was wondering if it was based off of Bret Hart, his outfit.
That's
the pink, because it's like one of the only people you could think of for rocking pink is Bret Hart and like Cameron, you know?
And the glasses.
Thrill House says, fun fact, Minecraft director made Napoleon Dynamite.
Yep.
True.
Yep.
Really?
Same director. Yep.
Has he done anything else?
Not that I'm aware of.
Minecraft.
I'm gonna take this one.
Big T says, hey Jedi, when will you, Reaper, Uninspired, and others finally talk about the ending of Attack on Titan?
Well, Uninspired has taken a hiatus from YouTube. He's
outta
exploring
here.
the world. I'm happy for that dude. He's fucking young and go live your life. And me and Reaper, we didn't disagree on most of it. It was more so our how we felt about the ending.
You didn't want to spoil it, and I kept trying to spoil it.
like for example, I think Attack on Titan is a show that pulled no punches and had like such balls for almost everything it did. And I think the ending for a show like that to have such a soft ending, kind of just rolling it in, it pissed off a lot of people. But comparing it to things like Game of Thrones or Arcane Season 2, it's not even close to that. I call it disappointing versus a complete insult. Or Game of Thrones is like a wound that'll never heal. Like you can't compare those type of things.
Well, did you read the manga or did you just watch the movie?
Just the show. I really love how they made the Rumbling like a fucking horror movie. The Rumbling is what the Long Night should have been, like an actual intense event. And then the second half of it was just a bit soft. But that's it.
In the manga, I don't know if I want to spoil it, but there's
way more vicious.
There's a lot of choices that the film cut out for obvious reasons, which I wrote.
Considering how bloody the show got, I've seen the stuff in the manga, and they just did not. It was
not
like
as hell, forget the censorship. There's some story choices and some decisions they do which absolutely decimates the character. Like there's Armin turns around and thanks Eren.
Oh yes. I heard. Okay, you know what? Okay, that's fuck. Okay, you know what? You just sealed it, Reaper.
And I'm not going to say anything else.
Vex, I know you know a lot about Platoon. We have to plan this at some point, but I know what you're talking about. Why the fuck would you?
I didn't understand. I hated the way that whole arc.
They literally had to change that in the show because it makes no. It ruins his character in one line. It's basically a couple characters get Jaime Lannistered. Where Jaime Lannisterism to me is when you destroy a character with a single line of dialogue. You make them say something their character would not fucking say. and we
Yeah, they
basically
do
had
it to
two of them at the
Ymir.
very ending, where it's like, what? It's so for those who don't know what we're talking about, I'll leave it at that. But Attack on Titan is still a must-watch. It's not. I wouldn't say I can't recommend Game of Thrones or Arcane after that ending. I'd still recommend Attack on Titan. That's kind of where me and Reaper left it at.
Well, let's say it's season 4 when the problems happen, because the first 3 seasons are great. It's the time jump.
Season 4 goes fucking nuts, but
it does, but that's when the
go
problems
nuts.
occur.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It's not like it's a big debate. You can see we agree on most of it. Yeah, watch Attack on Titan and discuss the ending, because it's one of the most controversial endings in terms of a high quality story you could think of. It's worth watching just for that.
I think it's worth the investment, even if you're disappointed with the ending.
Yes,
to be
100%.
honest.
Like I said, I can't say that about Arcane and Game of Thrones, Dexter, so many other shows. This is still worth it, even though I think the ending got a little soft.
M8566 asks, so is Reaper a host now? Yeah, Reaper and Jedi Brooks are both like co-hosts of the show, essentially. I don't know how else to describe them, so I just put like in the description box, I just said me and Platoon are the hosts, and then these two are like the co-hosts.
Like part of the panel, I guess. I want to put
panelists.
It's like we're girlfriends and we've secretly moved in. Without knowing.
No, this will. You guys are the host. This will always be your show. But I'm just like Reaper. I'll speak for both of us. I bet we're both honored to be a part of it. That's it.
Yeah, we are honored to have you guys. So it's awesome. We went from trying out producers to that not working to me just running the show and being like, why don't we just do a 4-person panel and have a guest or 2 on every week instead? And because I thought we had great chemistry. So, and I think we've done this like 9 episodes straight, essentially. Like Brooks, you missed last week, but that was about it.
Yeah, in the chat.
And you're in the chat.
Yeah. Tag in here and there. But that's where it starts. Like before I had ever come on the show, me and you had a decent chemistry just from me talking shit in the chat. And then you'd pull up a comment I made. It's like we haven't even spoken yet, but at least we can get along from me talking nonsense from your chat. So it all has to be natural,
right? Steel Manning says Minecraft better or worse than Pixels?
Is that the Adam Sandler movie?
Yeah, I think it is. I've not seen it though.
I haven't seen it either.
I don't think anybody did.
I heard that was a piece of shit though.
Well, let's see. I think people would say that Minecraft is brilliant, as the like to dislike ratio on my video is currently plummeting. So we'll see. This is fucking crazy to me. I didn't really. I hated that movie so fucking much. And it seemed like everyone was kind of in agreement too. I was like, oh, this is an easy slam dunk then for a video. And then like, I don't know, this morning I was talking to my girlfriend and I was like, I think I might have a Godzilla versus Kong situation on my hands now that I think about it.
Ooh.
You underestimated the tism.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. You underestimate the tism of that fan base.
Daredevil ended up being the one I made recently ended up being one of my most controversial videos, because I didn't realize how many fans there are to come and defend it, even though this season I think has been a waste of time. Been Disney Daredevil. Like I'm so disappointed that I haven't even continued the most recent episodes, and people defending it based on the first 3 series is kind of pathetic.
So crazy. You're not taking the series as it currently stands. You're taking it based on the fact you used to like what it did before.
And even like Platoon was saying, that you get the reoccurring pattern of, why are you basing it off the other story? It's this story. It's literally like you can treat it as season 4. It's a continuation of these characters in that story. That's everything. Why wouldn't I? And it's just insane. The lack of quality, the CGI sludge. I broke down the first 15 minutes and the amount I found in there in terms of like lack of quality. And I think they butchered Matt's character in the opening scene. So anyone who wants to relook at that, check out that video. I just think it was embarrassing. They fucked up so many aspects of his character and his story in like 10 minutes. It's terrible.
I think there's like a growing segment of people that want to like things so badly that they're mad at negative reviews because they just want to cling to something to like.
Yes.
And they'll do a bunch of like, recently I played Last of Us 2 because the show is coming out. I'd never played it and it fucking sucked. It's terrible. It's a terrible story. It's awful. It's just terrible. It's just bad. And there are people that they're mad. Oh my God, you guys don't like anything. And like they do a bunch of writing in their head for what the game story could have been.
Yeah, they fill in the gaps.
Filling in the gaps is a problem in a lot of
It's so terrible, and
And
it's a
quite a lot
weird
of the time-
mindset too. Like, so I like Reacher. Okay, the Amazon Reacher show I think is fantastic. I'm actually going to do a positive video which will get no views because people say, "Why don't you do anything positive?" And then you do positive shit, nobody watches it. But that's but I think it's a great show. Okay, I like that show. I watch it every year or every 2 years or whatever. Right. So, and this is a weird mentality to me because if I was scrolling YouTube and I saw there's a video that was like, "Reacher is the worst fucking show on the planet, and everybody who likes it is a dumbass," I would not click on that video. Like, I just wouldn't.
Right.
Like, I just would not watch that. I'd be like, okay, cool, that's fine, and I just wouldn't watch it. I'm happy for the engagement, I guess, and the clicks, but it baffles me every time that a video title will be like, Minecraft is a shit movie for shit people, and people will click on it and be shocked that you didn't like the movie, and they'll tell you that you're wrong. Like,
it's like, what did you think you were getting into? What do you expect?
Some people
That's
are
their
insensitive
identity
as
around
well.
it.
Like if you wait long enough, if you'd have the same take in a few months' time, it wouldn't be anything like the same thing. So I remember, I think when Arcane season 2 dropped, like having early criticisms of that show, people were saying, "Oh, what are you talking about? You're completely fucking wrong. You're an idiot." And then by the time the show finished, everyone who said that had stopped. Same thing with Deadpool Wolverine. If you said Deadpool Wolverine is fucking awful, people at the time would say, "What are you talking about? You just hate everything." And if you said the same thing 2 or 3 months later, most of those people wouldn't mind.
Be
And
like,
it's
yeah,
just,
you're right.
You just like lots of people just
Every
wait for
time.
the zeitgeist to shift and take their opinions from whatever everyone else around them happens to think. This is going back to my point about like one of the great like arguments against evolution is just other people.
That's what happened with The Last of Us season 1. Everyone thought that it was amazing, and then the season's finished 3 months, and I was like, oh yeah, that was kind of shit.
The only exception to this that I could think of was Thor: Love and Thunder. Everyone unanimously agreed that was
just
fucking
like that's
shit.
well, and
Yeah.
Snow
This
White.
is the
No
one.
one's defending Snow White.
This
no
too,
one's
yeah,
not.
this
That's
too.
true.
Just to add on though to your point, like Greg, I think a lot of people like get triggered by this stuff too because like these IPs or these stories or characters have become synonymous with their personality.
Yeah.
So whenever you say something negative
it's a
about this shit,
personal
it's
attached to it.
exactly it's a personal
the
attack.
message inside it is important to them, so they ignore all the logic and components around the story. When that
Yes.
stuff has to be blended in properly. It's just
It reminds me when I was 16 defending the Matrix Revolutions.
Oh, geez. Yep. You get your
I
heart
needed
invested in it.
I needed it to be
good.
good.
You don't get
I
it, Copper
needed
Top.
It's terrible, man.
But I think there's also like a subconscious understanding that it is not great. It's not the masterpiece they want it to be. And some people, it makes them sad, and then other people, they want to defend it hard. Like, I'm in the former camp. Like, I don't try to defend things. I'm just usually sad about it. Like, I wanted to like Final Fantasy 15 so fucking bad, and I didn't try to convince other people it was good. I deluded myself for a long time, but I didn't get angry at people for not liking it. It just, I don't know. It just, I don't get it. I don't get the anger at not liking stuff.
One of the best examples is Lord of the Rings. People adore that movie. They'll watch it over and over again and totally be cool with the people who have no interest in it because they know it's not for everybody. But the people who love it, they know why they love it. It's like, you don't get mad at someone who doesn't like Lord of the Rings. You're just like, oh, no, you just move on. It's just not one of those things, you know?
It depends how
it's
like
day and
they
age.
express their dislike of the Lord of the Rings. If they're incredibly stupid people, then that annoys me. But
Yes.
otherwise, it's fine. You're allowed
then-
to have bad taste.
Yeah, if it's just not for them, they're not really into fantasy and they never got into it, that's one thing. If they think it's actively stupid and for kids and shouldn't be taken seriously, even though they've watched 20 minutes of one film, like, those are the people you can't take seriously. It's frustrating.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings fans are the best fans on the planet.
They are. They're awesome.
The defense in the Rings of Power videos that I got, like the way they were going against the showrunners and everything, and just they had the best, most intelligent. You're going against a fan base that reads. Like, you can't fuck with them completely. You know what I mean? Those Snyder fans can't mess with Tolkien fans.
Those
They can
Snyder
spell.
fans can't read.
They can spell. Yeah, man.
Oh fuck.
I don't want to watch the first Last of Us season again because I'm afraid it.
Don't.
I did like it. I was one of those people that was
No,
like,
I liked it.
I just continue to just think it was okay, and I'm afraid if I watch it again, I'll realize it wasn't, and I don't.
It will fall apart. I promise you it will.
I don't.
I
wanna know
guarantee that.
The response to the episode with the two guys was fucking shocking to me. I couldn't believe how many people just like were being so childish about that. Because it was arguably the best episode of the entire season. Like,
I'd say it was, by some distance,
Yeah,
the
it
best
was
episode
better.
of the entire season. But like, the
Yeah,
argument
it's a
tended to
good
boil down to
story.
like, once you'd got past the usual amount of people being idiots, the arguments kind of boil down to, well, it's not following the games, and like it's a waste of time. It's like,
Don't care.
when The Last of Us Season 2 comes out, you're going to want it not to follow the games because
Exactly.
everyone hates that
They
game.
flip
So
flop back and forth.
which
whichever
standard
argument
are we
fits.
operating by?
Yeah.
I don't mind standards. Just apply one and keep it consistent. Don't switch them every 5 minutes.
Especially if
then
we're going to
there's no
compare that
stories
to. Remember Ellie and her best friend in the theater or the abandoned mall? That entire
mall,
episode
yeah.
that was
Or lesbian lover,
lame.
yes.
Absolute lame. And that no one seemed to be bitching about that, but the first one gets shat on, even though it was like well written, well executed, had a powerful message, and I really like what it set up for Joel's character.
If
But
I
no,
may,
it was too gay. So,
I wasn't part of the camp that thought episode 3 was too gay. I actually liked how it was written and executed. I had no problems with that. It's that it had no bearing whatsoever on the rest of the show.
that's not
It was a
true.
completely
That
pointless
is not
episode.
true. The entire point was the fact that he learned, even though this world is fucked, that you can still find love again and you can find some reason to move on and care about something. And that's an important
Why-
lesson for Joel when he's going forward with Ellie, knowing
Okay.
that now is your responsibility. For
Why
him,
do I care
What?
about that for a couple that doesn't show up later on in the season when instead you can take that and just develop it in Joel and Ellie, who didn't get enough time to shine as a pair
Why
together?
do you need to see them come back at the end of the story for their story to be impactful on Joel and Ellie's relationship?
They don't even
Joel to
really
have a
interact
greater-
with them. That's the problem, right? It's like, so if you look at, because you played Last
do
of
you
Us
mean?
Part 1, right?
No. I don't know
Okay,
anything
see,
about
this
the
is where
games.
my problem is because I saw where it was trying to take liberties from the original story, which it really didn't need to. It's
Okay. I
literally
don't know
just a
anything about the
walking
first part.
simulator, right? But that's why I had a problem with it personally, is that the way that you chose to take both of these characters and show their story has no bearing on what really happens to Joel and Ellie. Whereas in the game, there's actually a whole bigger interaction that happens that develops the chemistry between Joel and Ellie as like a father and daughter duo.
So it's a shitty adaptation. That's pretty much where your issue is. more
that
than
was
anything.
why my issue. Yeah,
Then-
I had
then
no
that's-
problem with it as standalone.
That's
but
where I will say I'm totally willing to concede that the game probably has a better version of the story. I'm just judging it in isolation from what I saw.
I gotcha.
That's all I could
Okay.
do, right? And even that sound like House of the Dragon had a famous example of that in the first episode with Blood and Cheese. The books did what they did in that scene so much better, and it would have been like another Red Wedding potentially had they nailed it. And I can get the frustration when it comes to that.
I gotcha.
but
I
yeah.
gotcha.
We'll see.
Okay. Mark Kelly says I had this up and I read it like 5 times.
Sorry.
The laugh lines from nostril to mouth are called nasal labia folds. Christ, which explains why when Jack Black speaks, he sounds like a kunt. All right.
What?
This was up on screen and I read it in my head like 5 fucking times. Waiting to read that. Oh god. Wolfsbane, keep it simple, Stu. Pid, aka Kiss.
I do not understand.
I do
that
not
one.
either.
Me neither.
I don't remember we were talking. I remember seeing that come up. I don't remember what.
I don't.
I think we were talking about like the origin stories and the over explaining of everything. I think that's when that came up.
Gotcha.
Did you like how I wouldn't say kunt on the stream, but I did say it in one of my videos? And I left it out. I just left it there. Wolfsbane again says off topic, but have y'all seen Primitive War trailer?
No.
No.
Mhm. Primitive War. I haven't even heard of that.
I've never heard of that.
I bet it's an A24 movie.
I saw the Warfare trilogy.
Oh
trailer.
yeah,
That
that's
kinda
what it
cool.
was. Yeah. Steel Manning says South Park had a better Minecraft movie. Yes.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
And this parody they did of Star Wars was better than the Disney Star Wars trilogy. It's funny how that happens. Like you can have these spin-offs, the cartoon. What's it called? I can never remember the name of it, but the Star Wars parody that they
Blue
did
Moon
ended up being
Harvest.
there it is. That's ended up being a better Star Wars story than Disney Star Wars. So
Well, porn parodies are more accurate now.
it's true.
I mean, that's how far we've fallen.
Play the High Note says a Minecraft movie has convinced me that Gen Z will look back fondly on the sequel trilogy.
Oof.
Ooh.
Here's
And that would
hoping
be
they
a
don't.
damning indictment. I don't know. I don't think anyone cares.
No.
It's like Star Wars isn't relevant to Gen Z. That's the
No.
real damning
Mm.
indictment of the thing.
That's
Everyone
true.
said TOJ will be looked back at as a masterpiece. We're almost there. We're almost there at that point in time where we can look back. It's still shit. The hell out
Is
of
it
here.
next year we're allowed to do that? Because
Almost, it's coming close. TLJ was December 2017. So
I thought it was
like, yeah, about 2 more
16.
years. No, no,
I've got
no.
2016 in
2000.
my head.
No, I'm
Oh.
positive it's 2017. It started
2
my
years
channel. I
then.
remember like the literal sensation of watching that film. It's the only time in my life where I unironically checked and to make sure a torrent wasn't a parody. I'm like, nope, Last Jedi
Oh,
2017,
real deal.
1080p. This
Fair
is a
enough.
real movie. And then sitting back going like, huh.
2 years it is, then we can all critically reevaluate that understood masterpiece, misunderstood masterpiece.
Steel Manning says, one way to intro this Superman is to have him going around doing simple stuff, saving cats, putting out fires, so he never had to fight before. Now he's getting beat down because JLA did the fighting.
Who's
I mean, that's one way to do
Who's
it.
JLA?
Justice League of America.
Gotcha.
Of America.
It's whether or not his power balance is right. Like in one scene, he gets beaten up. The next scene, he can have a building fall on him. So whether or not they get that correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You don't want to do the
because
racing. You don't want to do the racing problem where they're losing the race and they're just like, fuck, if I just push the pedal down more, I go faster all of a sudden.
Well,
You
they've
don't wanna have
established
that
this.
happen.
They established the dog is strong enough to knock him over. That means that dog can like kill people. It can run through trucks. Like it's
Dog
unstoppable.
is also superpowered.
Yeah, are they gonna balance around that? Like, it's kind of tricky,
Plus,
right?
if Superman can get injured, what injures Superman and who can fight that person?
Exactly. What's going on there?
We'll have to wait and see.
Mm.
Like setting up Thanos as a threat in Infinity War is fantastic. That's what you need to do with a villain. But this is like setting up Superman as vulnerable seems like counterproductive to me. I don't know why they do that.
Lance says, I would love to see Crypto in a Superman movie, but I haven't seen Crypto yet. I've just seen James Gunn's ugly rescue mutt.
Ralph. I still don't know
On
where that came from.
On the note of that trailer, was anyone else kind of bothered that they couldn't get just a real dog to do some of that stuff? They had to CGI the entire dog.
It sucked that it was CGI.
Yeah.
Really, like it's a weird thing to say something is good CGI. It just means that you recognize it's fake.
Right.
Pretty much.
It still takes you out of the movie a little bit.
It does. I was like, you really couldn't find a tiny little teacup dog to do half of that stuff first?
CGI should be reserved for things like Thanos, where you're not going to be able to find an 8-foot alien,
you
dude.
can't
what
do
I mean?
it.
You literally can't do it. Save it for that. Where you could have trained a dog. It just, if you're going to do the cheap dog trick, at least do like, imagine the Milo from The Mask with CGI. You know what I mean? The little doggo. Yeah. That's one of my favorite movie dogs, and like it's just stupid. The dog from The Thing, CGI.
That's what I was thinking. The dog from The Thing, because like that dog was so. Oh my god,
He's one of the best,
better actor than
ever.
Zegler, which is crazy.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite performances of all time. The dog from The Thing.
That dog.
It's the greatest performance from an animal. It'll never be topped. He's a genius.
Toivo Corhonen says, I've heard Platoon reference Pokemon too many times, so I want to ask which 6 Pokemon would he choose in his team? Cynic and the panelists can also answer if they're into Pokemon.
Huh?
I am into Pokemon.
I want the ones that can't talk so they can keep my secrets.
That's a good answer.
I would have mostly legendaries, so it's kind of cheating, I guess.
What's the one Pokemon that's the most dangerous Pokemon out of them all?
Mewtwo.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
It's Polygon,
Easily.
because in real life, he caused children to have epileptic seizures.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have mine, if I may.
Go ahead.
So Blastoise,
Yes.
Charizard, Dragonite, Gengar, Electabuzz, and probably who else do I usually have?
Man, you
in
went
there?
straight Gen 1.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ooh,
I'm mostly
Snorlax is a good one, actually.
there. Yeah, that is a good one. I am a Gen 2 fan. I grew up with Gen 1. Like I bought those games, but I really like Gen 2, so I have mostly them. Lugia, Lucario, not Gen 1 or 2. Suicune, Mewtwo, Ampharos, and Xerneas from.
Ooh,
Xbox.
Ampharos is a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Testing my memory, man.
Yeah, I don't remember the last two. The other ones I remember. Anything after Gen 2, I'm kind of lost, to be honest. I'm sure it's been ages since I've played it, so I'm kind of struggling to like list one off the top of my head. I always liked the idea, but it was more like not because I was never good at like the min-max stat stuff, and I was more like I'll tell stories in my head. I liked the idea of like Butterfree because Butterfree is like an army-killing weapon. It can just fly over the battlefield, just spray poison over everyone. It's just this butterfly just dropping mustard gas on everything. So I'll keep that. And then like a mix of Gen 1 and Gen 2, I guess. It's like, Typhlosion probably, because I like Cyndaquil.
Typhlosion's awesome, yeah.
Yeah, he is pretty good. Like, unconventional water type, Starmie, because it's also psychic.
Yep.
What was what's the bulb, the electric one that explodes? Self-destruct.
Voltorb.
And
Electrode.
Yeah.
And Electrode.
Voltorb and Electrode,
I always liked to pretend he was a suicide bomber, and I'd send him in.
It's about right, dude.
Pretty much.
The official Pokemon mascot of the Taliban. It's just
you're going to heaven with 72 virgins, and I'd send him in to blow up.
This is a test of run down memory lane, man. I think Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, those were my favorites.
What was Piglet's body?
Ooh.
Oh, so is that the meme of Piglet, and underneath the ground is like this really hench guy wearing like a thong or something?
Yeah.
And the doggos, I remember the doggos being cool. Eevee, Vaporeon, and
the Eevee ones were
those
actually
were cool.
Umbreon would probably be one I'd add.
Umbreon was awesome too.
Yeah,
black with the gold.
Same with whoever, I can't remember which legendary it was. The one that's on the cover of Sapphire was really OP.
Articuno.
No. That's Gen 1. Sapphire's like Gen 3 or 4.
I don't think they've ever made anyone more imposing than Mewtwo, though.
Mewtwo is.
He's just pretty cool, man.
But he's like the Darth Vader of the Pokemon world.
Yeah, he is. He was cool even back then. He just had a cool factor.
Who was it? Rayquaza was on the Gen 4.
Yeah, Rayquaza was on.
There we go. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Kyogre. Someone said.
Oh, yeah, Kyogre.
Yeah, he was very good in battle.
Yep. Damn, look at this is
you guys.
This is nerd living right here. We're eating good, you guys.
I think that shows how iconic Pokemon is. Everyone has a history and memory and experience. Everyone knows their favorite Pokemon, even if it was ages ago.
But it always puts me off now when they say like, "Well, we're releasing a brand new Pokemon game and it's got mega evolutions and shit." And it's like, "Well, what? I don't even know what that is. I don't need that. Just give me the old good stuff, but maybe update the graphics a bit." So I don't even need that, to be honest. Just give me the old one again.
The idea of there being 150 Pokemon, I remember being so cool, and like everyone had to memorize, and like it just,
there's like 800.
Now there's
it's too much.
Like close to 1,000, isn't there?
There was cool shit. Like when I evolved Gyarados the first time out of a whatever fish.
Magikarp.
So excited, like, oh my god, this actually works.
That would be one I'd have on my starter too.
Take forever.
I think
I can't remember. Had no attacks.
Magikarp they gave Magikarp tackle in Gen 2 and beyond.
Absolute like if you got a Gyarados, you were a soldier. Like you have to grind out to that Magikarp.
You had to have Magikarp as your starter and then switch him out.
I just had there's that
some XP and then pull them away.
There's that item you could have them hold. It was like an XP boost. So every time you went into a battle, all of your other Pokemon in your bag would get there we go, experience share. That's how I leveled mine up.
Cheating.
The new games come with experience share automatically, which kind of sucks.
Oh, that is horseshit. Finding a way to balance that is like a part of the game.
Yeah, that was a nice challenge. Yeah.
Literally, you got 1% health left. Just spit on him and get that XP. And just
it's a great way of teaching kids like the importance of variety and tactics, because like the kid naturally picks their favorite Pokemon and just wants to overpower it, but then you come up against like the gym that it's useless against. So you kind of you teach kids really early on that you have to balance your team. You have to consider other things, have more favorites, use the right thing for the right thing. And it's just like, I always like that about it. I remember it's like one of the most challenging experiences ever, isn't it? It's like Pokemon Yellow, because you start with Pikachu, but the first gym is Brock. And it's like,
God.
Fuck, good luck.
You could catch a Mankey, though, and kind of whoop his ass.
Oh, you could, yeah.
Yeah. But you have to, well, I don't know. We could get into the weeds about Pokemon. Never mind.
But no, he's right. He's right. The critical thinking, thinking required to play that game effectively is really important for kids. Even Yu-Gi-Oh! If anyone played Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid, I hated math, but playing Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid got my like really quick because you would remember certain calculations and whatnot. And you just have to be
Mhm.
able to read, calculate, do everything as fast as possible to be able to make your move, and it just
That's
helps.
what you did with the Pokemon cards, though, as well, right? Because every move did only a number of certain damage, and there
Right.
was HP you had to calculate too, right? So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I liked Final Fantasy Tactics when I was a kid. I really wish those would be back. The tile style. You had to calculate the number of tiles away and how large the area effect thing was going to be. I loved that shit.
To all the parents who thought games just make you stupid, like
Right.
that's what I'm
There is
saying.
some
Like,
value.
there's so much, yeah, there's so much critical thinking involved when it comes to them.
Only certain ones make you stupid.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Unfortunately, we need to move on from the Poke
Sorry.
Chats. Good stuff, but Steel Manning says, "Stop worrying about continuity. Real fans fix their stories and headcanon. If you drink enough, all the MCU makes perfect sense."
He's true. That's true. Yeah.
No, there isn't enough alcohol in the world to make Phase 5 make sense.
No, straight ass. James Busher says, "Nothing insightful to ask or say this week, so I'll just drop 5 fake bucks / real pounds. Love the channel and show as always. We love you, James."
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mega Spidey Man says, "To all, what video game would you most want to be made into a high quality film or show, and why that?"
Blood Omen Legacy of Kain series.
I think. Oh, go ahead, Vex.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I was gonna say, I bet The Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker would make a fantastic animated film.
Yes, good shout. But strictly, it has to be animated.
It has to be
live action bullshit.
Yeah,
I don't want. Yeah, that's.
If they got the right people for it, and that's a really, really, really big if. I would like to see a Red Dead Redemption TV series or a BioShock TV series. I know Netflix is already working on a BioShock.
Both of those can be done.
Yeah,
I think BioShock would be translated amazingly. Just the entire the world.
I know they're gonna fuck it up though because that's too high concept.
Well, look at Borderlands.
Yeah,
let's not go based off Minecraft and Borderlands. I don't know. You can have things like that, but then you can have like season 1 of Arcane. Like it's just it is possible, but I don't know. We're
if you did the show and you get the you get the BioShock twist, people that don't know it's coming, that's like an iconic moment.
Right. Exactly.
I know I just said it. I'd go with Tactics though. The freaking War of the Lions would make a great drama for a season or two. That'd be fantastic.
I would want Mass Effect as a TV show.
They're all good answers.
Oh yeah. That'd be a good one.
To me, the vampires in fiction are just pussies, man. I like I like Kane and Blood Omen. I like a proper ruthless vampire, and I just think that could be made into an amazing series.
Mega Spidey Man asks, "Oh, that was the same one. Sorry." He asked the same thing again. Shake Silver says, "Godzilla has had movies made back to back that are poignant disaster films and low effort schlock that's enjoyed like a WWE match for 70 plus years." And yes, he has, absolutely. There's I was telling you, Brooks, to watch the original Godzilla, the 1954 one. That one's as Shake Silver said, it's a poignant disaster film, truly. And Godzilla -1. There are a few in there. They're mostly schlock, though.
That to me is the only great Godzilla movie I've ever seen. So if there is actual like decent quality to go back and check out, I'd be curious. But I don't think anything's topping -1 for me.
Like and Shin Godzilla. So Shin Godzilla, the original 1954 film, and -1 are all really great films.
I couldn't get past the goofy baby Godzilla at the
beginning. You tried
it? I couldn't fucking believe how stupid
it, man.
It looks good one. It looks so bad, but everybody tells me
the final evolution looks amazing, and that's.
But you have to get past it looking like a retarded Pokemon. It looks like worse than
really
Polygon or whatever it was. You know what I mean? It looks terrible.
You really do. Hemorrhoid Hurt says, "Rip the Wheel of Time shite a new freckle, Reaper."
I just want to say this real quick because I missed the Game of Thrones discussion last week. Can we all agree that at the very least, Cynic should watch Hard Home? Like, even if he's going to watch something out of context? Reaper? Platoon? Anyone?
Yeah, that would be... It's just a good battle episode.
Yeah, just if you're going to watch one out of context for someone who's a horror fan, that's the one to watch. And just in terms
But the problem is, he'll go, "Oh, I wonder what those do at the very end."
I know.
What happens between them two?
I know.
The real time sucks ass. I'll spend all day talking about this. So.
Istophobos says, this is a one-time opportunity. Buy Plutz a coffee, tell Greg I love his channel, and thank Vex for her rack all at the same time. It's like Christmas.
Boo Cam cometh.
Oh, God. The Gourd King says, here's a tariffed $5 super chat. Lance says, Adi Shakar is the same son of a bitch who also made the vampires afraid of crosses because of right angles in Castlevania because he clearly hates Christians.
Oh, I forgot about that. In season 4 of Castlevania, because they want to disprove that Christianity is real, even though in season 1, holy water burns demons. They just ignore that. He goes, basically, it's the shape of the cross that sets them on fire, not the fact that it's a holy symbol. So, certain shapes burn demons, vampires.
No, leave me. I'm allergic to right angles. You can't.
That's so stupid.
Like, so stupid.
One of the best things about vampires is that their lore has been established and people can generally take them seriously because there's a magic system there that you can at least understand the basic premise of. This the default.
Yeah.
And I think that's why vampires are taken more seriously in media versus superheroes versus everything else, because there's just that baseline system you can understand. And why fuck with that at this point in time?
Yeah, you don't have to literally believe in the truth of Christianity. You can just treat it as another magic system in a fantasy work. Like it functions in roughly the same way.
Yeah,
the rules around it is just always been appealing.
I get people not liking Christianity. I'm fine with that. It's just it's so cringe when they like go out of their way to try to be weird about it, like Druckmann with the new game that he's doing. He's like, it's about a heretic prophet. It's 2,000 years after he fucked up the real religion.
Daredevil. They've stripped the Catholicism right out of this Daredevil series. There's been shots where he would be in a church right now looking up and contemplating life, but he's just like in a random spot because they can't show the church and that
he's in a bank.
Yeah, it's just stupid.
It's like you're drawing more attention to it by going out of your way to pluck it out than you would have to just shoot it in a church like normal.
One of my favorite ones is that when they changed the tried to change like the units of like dates from BC to CE. BC obviously before Christ, CE Common Era, and so like the secular thing to do was to use Common Era, and then the question is, when did the Common Era start? And they say, well, like 2,000 years ago. It's like, what happened 2,000 years ago? And the answer is like, well, I don't know, the event occurred 2,000 years ago, but it's got nothing to do with it. Trust me.
They've done that in Nocturne, Castlevania Nocturne. They've went, every religion is real. Their gods are real, just not Christianity's.
Damn.
Hell exists, but heaven doesn't. Anyway, here's Sekhmet from the Egyptian pantheon.
I was just reliably informed that shitting on Minecraft is not the hill to die on. In a comment, as if defending the movie is the fucking hill to die on.
No self-awareness in the comment section. They don't redraft.
Fuck.
They don't redraft, man.
Here we go. All right. Mega Spidey Man says, Platoon, bro, I fucking love your reviews, bruh.
See, that's acceptable. He gets the pass.
Well, I'll run the experiment again because I'll have like a second channel Minecraft video, the short one, and like the long form main channel video. And I'm sure because this almost always happens. The second channel one will get loads of comments like Cynic has got at the moment of just absolute morons downvoting it to hell. And the main channel video will be absolutely fine. And the negative comments will just be something like, bruh, 2 hours? Yep. Well done. Yes. You can count, have a medal. But the second channel one, that will probably get a load of morons in because it's short enough for them to think they could actually stick through it. It's like, if you want to avoid that criticism, just be incredibly long-winded.
Gemmy Cha says, the hard reality is that specs don't sell consoles, i.e. the Wii, DS, PS1, Switch, etc. Exclusive IP does. Nintendo has that over the others. People will buy it. That's not good, but it is the way it is.
Why is it not good? That's an interesting comment. Because I think that's surely how it should be. What's the point in having the biggest, most expensive, most powerful console if you have no games worth playing on it?
True.
So it's an interesting, because like surely the point of playing a game is that you're playing it for the game, as opposed to you're playing it because of the amazing specs that the console has. So that's the thing I've kind of always got a soft spot for Nintendo about, is that they take that approach. I don't like the fact that they're now aware of the fact that they take that approach, so they're taking the piss with prices, but at least they understand where the quality of games lies.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of articles over the past couple months that are similar to the question of like, why aren't AAA games good? And like, they look absolutely beautiful, but they're not particularly fun to play or creative. I think we were having this discussion recently, Brooks, about the fact that like the last time I was blown away by game mechanics was in like 2007 with Batman Arkham.
This obsession with graphics needs to die a horrible death. Seriously, does.
Agreed.
When do we care? It's about the feel. It's about the game. No one plays a game for years and years because of the graphics. It's never happened. It never will. It's because of the gameplay, the replayability, the value you get out of it. Like the game that I play most often right now is a very simple game. It's Dead by Daylight. I'm not playing it for the incredible graphics. I'm playing it because I love horror and I love the simplicity of it, you know, and the gameplay is what gets me back. Don't give a shit about the graphic. Play it on the lowest setting so I can actually perform and not get destroyed by lag. Nobody cares. I just want to see a balance, you know?
Yeah, that's just unfortunately what the market wanted for so long. Outside of like Nintendo's really the exception to it because they have their own contained ecosystem. But for many years, unfortunately, that's what the mainstream audience wanted. They wanted better graphics. And now it's at a point, why do AAA games suck? It's because you taught them to prioritize this over this.
Well, there was also a point during like the console wars over the is it the PS3 and the Xbox 360 when they both tried to make them into these multimedia stations as opposed to mere games consoles, in which case like the hardware considerations mattered, and you had the battle between Blu-ray versus HD DVD was largely won because the PS3 outsold the 360, and all that stuff was like besides the point if you're a gamer. Whereas like if you do go back and you think of the games that stick out in your mind the most, Wind Waker came out earlier like in this stream. It's such an iconic art style. It looks so beautiful. It really doesn't require intensive hardware to run. The limitations are often the thing that makes the thing great. Pokemon, the original Pokemon games, the music in those, so iconic because the hardware limitations didn't allow for complex like chord structures. You can't have multiple sounds playing at the same time. So the guy who made those soundtracks basically listened to a huge amount of Bach and just put that in the Pokemon game. And consequently, you have these really beautiful, simple themes, which are like minimalist, but wonderful. That's the limitation, is creating the artwork in a way that excessive performance and massive specs just won't allow.
Yep. My favorite musician is Jack White, and he says his philosophy is limitation because it makes him more creative.
Yeah, 100%.
Film did the same thing, right? We got great films because all of the makers were limited in budget and techniques of the time, and they got really creative with things.
They did not have unlimited resources.
You're not the Rings of Power, where you have like $1 billion at your disposal and a giant IP. Like that's one of the best examples in the modern era for sure. It's not about having just money and all this access.
Memorable Virus says, bro, this is a great stream.
Oh no.
Now I can't tell if they're trolling or
not. Ian says the original iteration of Daredevil Born Again was not a Daredevil show. The redone corrected version we got is a bad Daredevil show.
Yes. Boom.
Sounds accurate.
Yes.
User 5573 says Tron Ares trailer thoughts?
Haven't seen it.
Good.
I haven't seen it either.
It's basically Tron, the fucking machines come to our world. And Jared Leto is the lead. So that's kind of where I went, But it looked CGI wise, it looks incredible.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it has always had like a really distinctive look. There's nothing quite like Tron, but being shallow, Daft Punk not coming back kind of destroys the majority of my interest in Tron Ares. I'll check it out though.
Bonesaw is ready. Says Voltor wants his 72 low punnies. And my dad sent in a super chat. The Bill D says, great show, guys and gal. Very entertaining. I will say, however, y'all are some sick and twisted fucks sometimes. Thank you, Dad. All right. I think this was his first time watching BSUP. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Wow, that's full circle moment, man. Good shit.
Yeah. Well, I hope he watches my Minecraft video and gives it a like too.
He's gonna shit on it. He's gonna be one of the bros in the
Yeah.
comment section, like, bro,
bro,
I rate you better than this. The fuck you
I
doing?
just left a comment, bruh.
Oh,
He
God.
tells people your address. This is where you live.
You just get doxxed by your own dad.
Uh,
Oh,
well, that does it for the super chats. I do want to thank the panel and especially our 2 guests, not 4 guests, 2 guests.
shit.
So I'd like to go around and plug your shit, everybody. We don't have the cool thing that Dark Hour had made before, but Greg, thanks for being on, man. And you want to let us know what you're up to and where we can find you?
You can find me on my channel, Greg Owen. Tomorrow I've got a new episode of Good Trope, Bad Trope, talking about comic relief side characters with the help of my channel members. That's gonna be a fun one. I wrote some iambic pentameter for that one. It was way harder than I fucking thought. I'll tell you that right now. That is not easy to do. And then I'm going to talk about Reacher pretty soon because I genuinely, season 3 was really, really good. And I can't wait to talk about why.
Nice.
Right on. And Vex, hadn't seen you in a while, so it's good to have you on, dude.
I know. Thank you for having me. It was great to chat with all of you guys. Yeah, I took a hiatus from YouTube streams for a while. I'm live on my own channel, Vex Electronica, every Sunday at 10 a.m. I just kind of talk about whatever I watched that week, and our new running gag is that I read dirty novels at the end of my stream now. So if you're into that,
Tell them about the
other than that, I
boot
have that's just for fundraisers. I'm sorry. Other than that, I have been working on a Snow White video of a different kind. So that's coming out at the end of the month when I return from Vegas next week.
Right on. You're going to Vegas too?
Yeah, just for 2 days though.
Me
That's
too.
all I
For
can
2
afford.
fucking days, I'm going to Vegas.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm going to WrestleMania though.
I figured as much. Yeah, I will be gone before WrestleMania.
Gotcha. Yeah. Brooks, what are you doing, man?
Just released a Snow White video. So scene comparison, just breaking down one of the original scenes and comparing it to the piece of shit that they adapted. It's such a fucking pile. Oh man. It took me longer than I planned to. I want to try to get videos out more often now. But I do like how it turned out. Like, it's just such a shit movie, and I think this is a really good summary of, especially for people who didn't go back and watch the original. It really is worth your time. But if you don't have the time for that, check out the video. It's pretty solid. And also have the Daredevil video out for Bored Again, this stupid series, and breaking down that first episode. And there's also a Captain Wakanda video still chilling out there.
Captain
so you can check those
Wakanda.
out.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
There you go. So you can check those out if you're interested.
Nice. And Reaper, are you releasing anything soon?
I still haven't fucking done anything yet. It's been
All
about
right.
5 weeks of me saying Nocturne. Still haven't done that. I'm going to try and get Minecraft and Devil May Cry out. But then I've got Doctor Who on the 12th, and then you got Last of Us on the 13th.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Who knows? This is the only consistent thing I do is show up on this channel.
Right on.
Same with me. Same with me. Everything else is, who knows? Figure that part out.
I just released a Minecraft video. So and then I think in the next week or so, there's another Celebrities Who Self-Destruct video I'm working on. But I'll probably re-mention that again next week, and Platoon, I think you're the last one, sir.
Yeah, in theory, there might even be 3 videos this week because the main Snow White one is basically done. I'm just waiting to finish a couple of bits off. Minecraft second channel video will be done probably by Wednesday, and the Minecraft main video might be done at the weekend, maybe, possibly. Having said that, it's completely unrealistic and none of that will happen. But, in theory, it will happen.
Oh, fair enough. Cool. Well, yeah, that does it for this latest episode of BSUP. But the 4 of us, Platoon, me, Reaper, Brooks, will all be back next week. And Greg and Vex, thanks again for being on. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
But yeah, Platoon, I'll let you click the end stream button, you know?
My mouse isn't working. Oh, no, it is. No, never mind.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it is. It's good. Goodbye.
Bye.